just open up with saying that one again. Because that's the interesting one. That's the story we really need. See, now I'm not getting a YouTube stream chat on my thing. I want my fucking stream chat. I don't see it now. Where'd you go, YouTube live stream? Where'd you go? Oh, okay, it's there. So we're live. Officially live. So how do I find... Oh, there's a stream link. So you were saying something about Turkey Tom being racist. What were you saying?
Way to kick it off.
No,
Okay.
I want to know. What were you
Okay. The guy, there's, what's his name? D'Angelo Wallace. That whole thing where he made his whole big deal about how Turkey Tom's a racist. He was going to make this whole big expose video. It's just been a whole crap storm of nonsense, right? Almost all of it was just trashed. Completely pointless.
Fuck it.
Like taking stuff out of context and taking messages from a year ago and acting like these few messages from a year ago show that he currently is constantly like this, even though it was all clearly from one thread of messages to one single person.
No, yeah,
And then he also Willie Mack, basically what I was saying is Willie Mack put out a video yesterday, I think it was yesterday night, last night or this morning, about it, and fantastic video breaking down a lot of it, showing a whole lot of the disingenuous side of what D'Angelo Wallace was doing. It's been pretty much proven that D'Angelo Wallace, based on a couple of statements he's made, was doing this for attention and not to actually expose Turkey Tom or try and teach Turkey Tom a lesson or anything. It was just trying to accuse Turkey Tom of being something for attention, to get attention.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's been exposed.
Well, one of the statements he made about Turkey Tom is, if you have to use racism to get attention, then you need to probably just, I can't remember the phrasing, it was like end yourself or something like that. Like basically, F yourself and get off the internet if you're going to use race to get attention.
I mean,
but he has admitted that he exaggerated everything to make Tom look like a bad guy to get attention. Right. So he himself was the one using racism to get attention. Just wasn't being racist himself.
It's real funny how when you are a considered non-privileged class, how you can be anti-blank because you're of the non-privileged class. It's not the caliber of your character, it's the color of your skin nowadays. I can be offensive to a 14-year-old and attack them and have... I'm sorry, how old is Turkey? Like 15? Like, I can have
I think he's 17 now.
Oh, still, I'm like, I can dox that, have my rabid fans dox and proclaim I didn't do anything. I didn't encourage it when it was provable that you were actively trying to seek out the story. I'm not taking responsibility. I, an adult, am attacking a child. No, I'm not. Like, it's just that living repetition of that skit from Key and Peele, where it's, oh, I'm not being persecuted. I'm just an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought it was funny. The reason I mentioned it kind of like an offhanded thing was because I commented on Willie's video pointing out what I just said. Like, it didn't even occur to me because he didn't really make this point. He kind of like went over other stuff related to it, and it never dawned on me until when I was watching his video that he legitimately was contradicting himself. He was describing himself when he posted that tweet, even though he intended to be describing Turkey Tom.
No,
and I made that comment. I made that point in a comment under Willie's video. Got 59 likes, and then one person said, "How the f is D'Angelo being racist?" No, you're not grasping what I'm saying. It's not that I'm not the idiot. You're misunderstanding it. And then he goes into this whole thing trying to explain to me how I'm wrong.
No, it's...
But missing that one little thing, missing that one little bit of context that he's forgetting that it works two directions. It's a street. It's a two-way street, not a one-way street. He's forgetting that words work both ways, not one way.
No, it's rules for thee, but not for me. Please shut your face, because I'm about to be an asshole. So, I mean, yeah, I can get some of the fallacies behind, just in general for the entire saga. But it's another thing to morally grandstand over somebody, say you are being bad and offensive, but what I'm about to do is about to lie, cheat, and steal just to make myself get ahead by stepping on your head. But I'm doing it under the guise of I'm morally doing something good. What's the point? What's the fucking point? I'm like, if canceled people deserve to be canceled.
I think he must be mentoring with Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah, no, it's at peak moronic behavior when you can sit there and think to yourself, no, what I'm doing is good because I'm me and I'm good. And have an entire community of people tell you, no, actually, you're wrong in this circumstance, and just do the Tariq Nasheed method of, you're just a hater. Bye. It's like, bitch, what?
End up in his book of suspected white supremacists.
Yeah, whatever happened to that whole website shit?
I don't know. Knowing him, he probably just didn't pay the bill or something. He probably lost the domain, knowing him.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you heard of Tariq Nasheed when somebody wasn't just making a joke about him? He's like gone.
Oh, he still has a fucking poll though on Twitter. If anything, it's never made sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, he is the pinnacle demonstrator of legitimate race baiter, actively causing people to become more violent towards one another because that's how you make money. Is you say blatantly false racist shit and you get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Almost like an anti what's his name? Salads.
Anti-salads?
Yeah, I mean, because he's like the opposite end of the spectrum.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Joey Salads.
Oh, Joey Salads.
He was constantly race baiting like minorities.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
Yeah.
Other than the Trump card, I don't remember him doing it that often. But I could be fuck off wrong.
He did multiple videos where he was like trying to antagonize people in black communities with Trump stuff. There was even one image that people used for a long time where he was like wearing a swastika at some kind of rally or something to try and see what people would do as a social experiment. I feel like I'm going to use air quotes a lot.
I thought it was something along the lines of he was doing that at a Trump rally. He was wearing the swastika to see what Trump people would do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember exactly what it was. I just know he was like at some kind of rally or some kind of event trying to see who would respond to it. I wasn't saying that was one of the events where he was like doing that in a black. No. I know he was doing that at like a Republican rally or something. I just don't remember what it was.
I mean, regardless, I can't see the logic in any of this shit anymore. And I'm waiting and desperately hoping for the hate train to target me because I would love to spend a fucking week monetizing off of something like this. Like, I keep bringing it up because I fucking love it. Was when Quentin quote tweeted my ass and was basically like, "Oh, look at this clown." I was like, dude, I fucking stomped on every single one of the people who tried to make an argument against me. I'm like, if I'm gonna say something, it is based off of some sort of premise, some sort of argument. I'm trying to make a valid fucking point. And it's really hard to dispute me when I can make a valid point. And at the end of the day, if you are a race-baiting racist, and I have proof A, B, C, D, E, F, G that you are a race-baiting asshole, you're a race-baiting asshole in most cases. Not always. I am sometimes wrong, and I do tend.
The funny thing about people like Quentin is, and we gotta obviously get to the topic, but the thing I think is funny is with Quentin, he even made did you see he recently made a video about Filthy Frank?
I didn't
one of his
actually
Titans
watch
videos
because I saw it and I was immediately like, oh god, did I dare?
I was like, oh, this is gonna be a train wreck. So I started watching, and he wasn't as against Frank as I thought he was gonna be. That's the thing. I'm not even subbed to the guy.
I never thought he'd be against.
Yo,
him,
we shock mouths. Yeah, no, he basically. Here's the funny thing. he basically went on his whole like talking about like he did a couple things talking about how his videos were structured and the fact that he had his lore and all that, right? And then at one point he gets into the fact because he talks about the type of humor and what they made fun of and all that stuff. And then he says basically that all the Tox people failed to realize that everything he was doing was a parody of what he actually stood for.
Right.
Here's the problem with that logic, right? If he didn't do any of it because he thought it was funny, then why is he best friends with Max Mofo? That's a major flaw in the logic, isn't it?
There is a fallacy that happens with people who are so ingratiated to SJW culture. I know you've noticed this, but they can't take jokes anymore. They can't interpret what a joke is anymore.
No.
A parody of itself is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's astounding.
I mean,
I have to watch this video now.
I mean, I get that at some level. I'll be honest, I never finished it. I watched like halfway through and I gave up because it was so bad. But here's the thing. I get that there was a lot of stuff that Frank did that was like satirical of commentary itself and of things like that. But the way he talks about it makes it sound like he feels like all of it was like he didn't do any of it because he thought it was funny. Do you really think he wrote the Dan Schneider song making fun of commentators? No, he was making fun of Dan Schneider by stepping it up a level, taking it to an absurdity level where it was actually more offensive. Like part of the joke was the fact that it was offensive, but it was almost like, if you're going to be this perverted, why don't you just bring it back and make it worse? Like part of the joke was putting it on Dan Schneider, not even on Frank himself.
I just think
it was comedy. That was the point of it. It was edgy humor. He's saying that even regardless of whether it's true or not, saying that he didn't mean any of it. It was all parody, which logically doesn't hold up. Doesn't really make it not edgy humor, does it?
Well, there's a conflation though. Parody is parody, and humor is humor. The two can exist simultaneously and separately. You don't always have to be a parody of somebody and be funny or humorous, and you don't always have to be humorous. You don't always have to be a parody. So to sit there and say, yes, all of Filthy Frank is a parody, well, it very well might be, but we'd have to ask, Joji himself. What the fuck is his main name?
Yeah.
His name George. Like, we'd have to ask him himself. But I guarantee you, tell you, is like, the answer's gonna be, as is always the case with most people, I just did it because it's funny. So how is it parody? How is it, like, it's a parabola of, like, there's a certain point you get where you're like, oh, I have a point to be made in this video. But was there ever a point in Vomit Cake? Was there some sort of great social message that was made? No.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, just funny.
Unless the point was, like, degeneracy is what attracts people. Like, even then, he wouldn't make 3 of them to make that point. It's also flawed.
And that's... I don't get it anymore. Where do you... Like, it's a fucking poet taking something and saying, what did the author mean? The author meant Harry Potter found a fucking stone and he lives forever. That's the fucking meaning. Sometimes you can't derive meaning out of shit.
Yeah.
I don't get it anymore. And these people need to stop talking. They really do. You have opinions, you have these like grandiose pleasures and delusions of like, this is what they really meant. And it's like, okay, we can argue what they really meant, but until it comes out of their mouth, we don't fucking know.
I love it when they do it with people that are deceased and stuff too, like people that can't speak to what they originally or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, no, this is okay because it meant this. Selective memory is so common now, freaking serious, frustrating at the same time. Because think about it, like, for example, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? Got canceled last year. Oh. Why?
Canceled
because
by
of bullying that was in it. The bullying in the movie. Let's see. What's the problem with that logic? The movie was anti-bullying. The whole movie builds how the bullying was traumatizing and messed up. That's the whole thing. And then at the end of the movie, oh, we shouldn't have picked on you because you're our hero now. We shouldn't have picked on you. You're the nerd. You're the loser that ended up being the cool guy in the end. It was an underdog story where he overcomes the bullying. It was a positive message about bullying,
No,
overcoming the bullying, and
it's
it wasn't making bullying good.
the message of the movie is that you are useless until you are found useful if you're weird. Come on,
That's one way to look at it.
Oh god, I got that fucking like ever since people said cancel. I was like, oh, so this is basically saying Rudolph was a freak, and then if you're a freak, you can be a freak, but you go away. But if you're useful, we'll keep you around. Maybe we'll keep you to breed.
I just think it's funny how people are constantly canceling everything now, but the holiday classic that everyone loves so much, A Christmas Story, has a scene with blatant what is seen today as racism because it makes it fun of Asian stereotypes, and no one says nothing. No one says nothing. But Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer got canceled for being a anti-bullying PSA.
I heard Christmas Story. They try to pull that bullshit. I think some people were even taking out that scene. That's how.
No, but I'm saying that there's a 24-hour marathon of that movie.
Yeah.
But you've got Rudolph that there's a whole campaign about that last year, and I've seen people this year talking about it again, and it's going to keep happening. White Christmas is clearly a movie about people in a relationship, and every year the hate towards that song. Whereas instead of it being her playing hard to get, it's him trying to control her.
Oh, you mean the song?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You said movie. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Every year that the stance against that song gets stronger. But back in the day, the whole concept of playing hard to get and all that was common. That was very common.
So I have a dispute against that. I have one dispute, which is there is an argument to be made on both sides that I feel like is very underlooked by the other. The first aspect is why is the guy automatically a demon in this? It's snowing, it's pissing snow out, it's in the middle of Christmas, people could be drinking and driving, it's dangerous. Fucking stay here, stay warm, get some food, and it doesn't necessarily imply anything sexual. Right. The other end of the spectrum is like, the woman says no like 5 or 6 times. At some point, you got to be like, yes, I see that social stigma of like, okay, at the time it might have been okay, a little bit more accepting. I'm like, look, man, and even like in the Bill Burr special, the most recent one he did, is like, no, stop. That's not a no. That's not like a direct like, but being like, no, that's stop. But saying it 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Though. Well, here's the issue with that though. If she only said it twice and he only said, come on, twice, how short would that song have been? But like that's the only reason it goes that long is because that was like the whole like they had more they wanted to say in that song, and rather than making it a 1-minute song and then making a sequel where she was over his house again and wanted to leave in the snow again, it was convenience of the song.
There are many different melodies of her saying, oh, I think what people might say, oh, I'm not sure about you, oh, I don't feel like this is right. Those are 3 different instances in the song, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the exact lyrics off the top of my head.
You got to remember back then it was like there's a lot of like prudeness and stuff where like you're supposed to be married before you're together. So like, the whole concept seems to be that he wanted her to stay with him for the night. She was saying that's not acceptable today.
No, don't get me wrong. My opinion is much different from what I'm saying, but
I guess we're getting off topic here.
Yeah, I generally will try to argue devil's advocate. I really do.
Okay.
I can argue fucking anything.
My point is, though, a lot of terminology in that song is used against it by its current functionality and current meaning.
Right.
Because, for example, when she says, say what's in this drink, that meant what kind of alcohol did you just give me? That didn't mean, hey, did you put drugs in this?
Yeah.
But that's so common. That's like the common place to go now because of date rape conversations. I mean, I don't know.
It's like when you try to cancel a 3-year-old video critiquing another YouTuber who has no chin, and you get deleted, even though that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's totally out of left field.
Yeah. So let's get in the meat, the bread and butter now. The one thing I can't argue
You had a smooth
anymore.
Transition, and then you slowed it back down.
Yeah, because I just want to I got to preface one thing to you as well as to anybody who is deciding to watch. So, I can argue anything. I can devil's advocate anything. I will fucking defend my right to bitch about shit that I may not even really believe in. Like, I can make 1,010,000 arguments about why you shouldn't smoke pot. I can do it. Don't agree with that, but I can. But I have to ask you, do you feel like it's a company's, a government's, a police, a whatever authority's job to pre-crime? To just instinctively know this is bad and we have to protect you from it? Or are people autonomous human beings who have all the mod tools, who have the ability to protect themselves, the legal means to protect themselves, and we can't let them use it? Because I don't fucking know. I think
pre-crime is definitely a dangerous concept.
But that's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
That is what this is.
Yeah.
To the T to the I. We are changing our policies to control toxic comments. What the fuck is a toxic comment? I want somebody to give me what a fucking definition of toxic is. Because you know what I'll tell you? A fucking toxicologist won't give you a fucking definition like YouTube does. What is a toxic comment? Fuck you. Is that a toxic comment or is that my opinion? I can't.
A toxic comment now is you're a PewDiePie fan.
Oh, fuck, man. So, no, okay. So, I've actually made this argument to 3 different people now, and I think it really bears being said again. YouTube is implementing a policy that basically says we're adding in a feature that allows you to auto-moderate your comments so that we can remove toxic comments, control the conversation a little bit better in your own communities, and we're going to try to work on reducing harassing behaviors. So now, I have to ask, when somebody... Okay, I'm asking you this question, because this is something I feel is misconstrued. If I were to say, hey, I really like your ball sack, is that sexual harassment?
Right now, I feel it's flattering, but maybe if I was like at work or something, it might be...
If we were both at work. I really like...
We were both at work?
I really like your body, and, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better.
Are we in the lockers after work, like getting ready to go home for the day?
Just
or is
hallways.
this... Just in the hallways? How'd you see my ball sack there? That's really
No. Disregard the ball sack at work, because that's a little too far.
No,
I like your body. I'd like to get to know you. Is that sexual harassment?
I'll be honest. For some reason, I like your body was creepier than
it's
I like your ball sack.
That's the exact point. I want to see your ball sack, but your body, that's a little bit of mystery there.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I would be like off put by it, but I wouldn't go to HR because somebody said they liked my body. No.
Okay, so you're kind of like it was yes an opinion question, but it was also kind of a factual one. But my answer is
I know the general consensus is don't do that. Don't talk like that to people.
No. No, that's where I'm kind of disagreeing a little bit. That is not sexual harassment what I just did to you. Sexual harassment.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
You first were talking about my genitals, and then you changed it to body. I feel
Genitals
like if you were
outside of
specifically
work.
talking about the genitals like you initially stated, you kind of led me down that path to feel that it was sexual.
Right.
Like if you were just saying, "Hey,
But it wasn't harassment.
you're looking good. You're looking good, man."
No,
okay, I see what you're saying. Well, see, that's the thing though is like harassment isn't necessarily negative when it comes to sexual harassment. I mean, in terms of its intent.
Even harassment though, it doesn't
The
have to be
harassment
negative.
No, I don't think that. But see, I don't know if this does the YouTube policy changes actually include sexual harassment, and like
harassment in and of
like
itself
compliments
is
and
just
stuff?
harassment. Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. Let me get to this goddamn point now, because now you got me off on a tangent. I'm like, that's not
You're
the point.
Hey, I didn't get you off on anything. Don't you dare slander me. I did not get you off on anything.
Myself. Anyway.
I did not get you off. I've never gotten you off.
I did not get you off. I will not get you off. No. So harassment is, by definition, is the unwanted attention. Unwanted. The key word there is unfucking wanted.
Mm-hmm.
If I go up to you in the streets as is, and I say, "Hey, nice ball sack," that is not sexual harassment. If you were to look at me and go, "Hey, don't talk about me, don't talk about my ball sack, and fuck off out of my distance," now I am an unwanted person. I am unwanted by your presence. If I continue to do or harass you, that is harassment. Any
Right.
continuation upon the first instigation, unless otherwise deemed unnecessary or unwanted, is not it's not harassment.
Right.
So why is fucking YouTube taking it upon itself to say, "Hey, your comment said the word fag, for example. You're a bully. You are toxic. You can't prove that. The words cannot have hateful intention. That's why I keep arguing that there is no such thing as hate speech."
Yeah, because it's all about the usage and context. Yeah.
Oh, I got other arguments to that too, but anyway.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I was just
Yeah. But YouTube is not the arbiter of what is unwanted. And the fact that it acts in the way that it is the decider makes me immediately go, "You are not my fucking mother." I don't understand how YouTube or any streaming or any platform on the planet can arbitrate what is and is not wanted attention. If I made a video and I said, "Well, I put this up as public," you are welcoming commentary. If it is unwelcome, you can set the video to unlisted. You can set the video to private, for fuck's sake. You can make the exclusive, like, "Oh, I only want to send this to people on my email list," so I set it to a private email list. And I only approve those email people. If I only want people who are on my Twitter to see this video, I can set it to unlisted and share it there. If I am not a fan of the word faggot, I don't like people calling me faggot. You know, I have my own complexes, my sexuality, and I really don't like when people use that word towards me. You know what I can do? I can go to youtube.com and type in the word block list. I can look up the word block, and I can look at my block list and say, "I don't want that word used in my chat ever again." I never need to see it. On Twitter, I can actually block that word from existing in my feed at all.
yeah.
I have every tool in my disposal to cease commentary, content, likes, dislikes, or anything that is coming my way. I have that power. Why are you telling me I don't? That's my that's my point.
That's been my big issue with this so far today. So YouTube announced this today, and they started taking videos down today. Gokunaru's video. I don't know what in that video could have possibly been considered harassment. Because I don't remember anything in that video being derogatory or anything like that. So it was one video, one instant of him directing something at Ethan from H3. Huh?
Oh, I thought you were saying iDubbbz. I'm sorry, not Gokunaru.
No. I haven't gotten to the iDubbbz one yet. I was starting with the Gokunaru one because there's as far as I remember from watching that video, because I watched it at least once, and I don't remember a single thing in that video that could have been considered harassment.
There was a short skit in there about, like, I think he was in the woods and shooting at a target with a fake gun or a BB gun, but it was like, "Oh, well, it could be considered that you were threatening his life." That's the only argument that I have actually been able to somewhat come up with.
See, but that's not even harassment. That's
it's a skit.
Threats of violence. It's like a threat of violence or whatever. So that shouldn't have been pulled down for that reason, though, because that's still not harassment.
No, and the fact that it was pulled out in any way is ignorant, because 95% of that video is the word criticism. It's him critiquing and everything.
He should have had the opportunity to remove that if that was really the problem. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's nothing I can see with that video that it wasn't just criticism, aside from the theatrics. And if the theatrics were the problem, he should have had the opportunity to remove them if that was the issue. Because it's not harassment, because he added theatrics to it in the way that they were added. iDubbbz video, he specifically was satirically bullying the guy that was known for bullying people. That was the entire joke, was that he could dish it and wasn't going to be able to take it.
Not even.
I kind of understand why YouTube would take the video down, because technically it does fall under all those criteria. Now, the problem I have is exactly what you said applies to this situation. Why did YouTube take it down without any interaction from the victim of the bullying themselves? Leafy doesn't care anymore. No one seems to believe that he flagged the video as harassment. He responded to the video, and continued YouTube at the time. There's no reason to believe that Leafy himself flagged the video. even my theory right now is they're going off some massive list of the most heavily reported videos of harassment of
Right.
all time or whatever.
I agree.
That's my theory.
Even a colossal video got flagged out. I'm like,
No, I was talking to a lot of guys in one of the group chats on Twitter, and they were looking back through everything. We can't. First of all, we can't find any drop in the last couple of weeks in viewership from him. He would have a negative view count for one day, like a lot of views for that video coming down. So it looks like it was actually in November sometime.
Just unlisted. Then?
No, I think they said. I think Colossal said that it was pulled down, and he thought it was this.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of people, I think they were saying that they're pretty sure that he just didn't realize it was pulled down before now.
That's possible.
So anyway, that I'm not 100% on all that. That's just what and most of the guys are in a group chat. There's quite a few of them that actually have connection to him. From my understanding, so they would.
Fucking NCO slut.
No, I'm not in the NCO. They're not even around anymore. I don't think that chat still exists.
I'm sure they still are. Are you shitting me?
I mean, well, I know a lot of them are still buddies and all that, but I don't think the actual chat still exists. From my understanding, it doesn't exist.
I think they just reiterate it every time. That's what I usually heard.
It's possible, but I haven't heard any other name come out after that. But either way, what happened doesn't make sense. The videos just come crashing down without seemingly any report. Like, why would Ethan from H3 report a video that came out like a year ago on him? Why would he report that now when no one's still watching the video now?
People still are. The views don't come in long term, but they do trickle down. And
no, but I mean, I'm not saying nobody. I'm not saying it was a completely dead video. But what I'm saying is, like, even if it was getting, a couple hundred views a month, right? That's not a threat to him because it's already information that's all out there. First of all, secondly, he went to therapy, came back, and said, "Hey, I've dealt with a lot of these issues." Well, and while whether or not we agree with him on that, I personally have a lot of issues with the way he's behaved even since that situation.
Oh God, yeah. Some problems, but not many. He's getting better. I'm gonna give him that vibe.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of stuff with like the whole, like, for example, when he said recently the whole thing about what do you want me to do, research. and then says stuff like the one that sticks out so much in my mind is because I saw it so many times and it pissed me off so bad. The whole thing with the Joker, where he said the guy that did the shooting in Colorado Springs or whatever it was, Aurora, Colorado rather, was dressed as the Joker and inspired by the Joker, and there was literally no factual evidence to that.
I love Ia just coming on the mic every time being like, actually that didn't happen.
Actually, no, you're an idiot. That there's nothing you're saying. You're just making stuff up now, dude.
Can I do my my monthly H3H3 complaint tour? I think of all the people that are undeserving of even a modicum of YouTube community support, we'll call it that way. The YouTube viewers who are exclusively YouTube viewers, H3H3 is the least deserving of it. He is a grifter to the community. He theoretically, according to certain podcasts out there, stole the idea of Vape Nation from somebody else and has only ever been as creative as a meme that probably somebody else did that he went, oh, I could probably do that a little better. Just a little bit.
I will say, if I remember correctly, Vape Nation, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Max that said on Cold Ones or something.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, I think he said that it was Filthy Frank, but yeah. I think from what he said, Frank gave him the idea.
It didn't sound that way. It sounded more like Frank came up with the idea. He probably was gonna do it, but he was like, I don't know, I'm wavering on it. And Ethan comes up and he goes, well, I mean, it kind of fits my fat ass. Mind if I do it? Like, and even still, that's not as egregious, but if you ever even look at...
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done worse stuff since.
Just even think of his reaction videos. Name one thing that H3H3 has done that was unique and original besides, like, maybe the stacking 100 beanies. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't even original either because he stole that from, like, a BuzzFeed thing or something like that. He was mimicking somebody else.
I think they still were one of the first to do their style of reaction commentary. Because I mean, there was a lot of people that would do like skits and stuff with the video, but they didn't do it like where they had, and I realize it's just a format thing mostly, but like he had Gila holding the cat, like shooting the video handheld instead of having like just set camera original.
Right.
And then he would do a lot of improvisational comedy, but the fact that he could just go do something was hilarious. Like he just wants to go and then rinse his mouth out because whatever it was is just making him feel sick, and that's the joke. Like it was goofy, it was improvisational. I mean, like improvisational comedy is only going to get you so far, because there's just there's no structure to it, so you're just kind of going on a whim. So there's not as much you can do with that. Even the best improv artists, when they're just doing improv and there's nothing to base it on, it's weak.
I mean, everything he does is weak. Come on, I'm not
Yeah.
even. Let's stop. Fucking...
He's now at this point. He's to the point now where he's mildly entertaining. But you can't really trust him as like a source of facts. Those are my issues basically.
I don't even.
I still listen to the podcast. I still listen to the podcast, but it's much more selective.
Yeah, no, and I like even his shit. Like I don't know, he just did the Papa John thing. I'm like, he says in the beginning of the episode, guys, this is not even going to be a good episode. And why are you fucking doing it? Stop. You're fucking useless, dude. Do a fucking 30-minute podcast on those off days. Do fucking short, sweet, make those sponsor obligations, you fucking money-grubbing whore. And then just go, oh, hey, then we're going to actually have our guest this Friday or some shit like that. And I can't wait for our channel to get banned now because I said you fucking money-grubbing whore.
I mean,
sorry, sorry about the bullying, YouTube.
Personally, I don't think of the whole sponsorships thing is that big a deal because I mean every podcast is like that, and they don't do it as bad as some do. Because like I've said before, I've complained to you before about Bert Kreischer's podcast, and I like his a little bit. It really depends on the guest,
but no. See, here's the difference: that Bert's episodes are sporadic and kind of random, but it's not out of obligation to the sponsors. Ethan was getting shit because he was doing 5, sometimes 6 ad reads in an episode. That's what people were giving complaints about, which is bullshit because he did them all in like one big block. And it's like, if you're doing all the ads in one block, that's the perfect opportunity if you're a podcast listener to be like, oh, hey, I don't want to listen to this. Skip.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a fucking favor to you. You listen to an ad, shut the fuck up, you're getting content.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that big a deal for him to do all those sponsorships when he's doing it in one isolated block in the middle, because you can even get a massive preview like, do I want to continue this episode or can I just cut out before the sponsorships? You get that massive block before the sponsorship. So I personally, I don't hold the whole sponsorship thing against them.
But no, like he gets a ton of obligations. He signed up for every deal he could. He doesn't use half of those fucking products. So he goes, well, I was getting 5 sponsors an episode. Well, I can just do 2 and 2 or 3 and 3. And then I can do 2 podcasts a week. I can do one shitty one where it's just like, this is the viral meme of the week where I sit here and I contemplate on the same meme for 45 minutes. And then the next week, or the next couple of days, I can have the guest on, the actual show. And it's like, I don't get it. Why do people watch it? It's bad. I watch 1 out of 4 now because it's so awful.
It's mostly his guest episodes that I watch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's occasionally there's a specific thing like the YouTube thing. Occasionally there's a specific thing that I want to find out what he's going to say about it. But for the most part, it's.
I don't even want to know what the fuck he has to say anymore ever since that whole like him meeting with Susan Wojcicki thing. It's like of all the people, I was hoping he would have been like the beacon that was like, Susan, get your head out of your ass. But no, he probably was like, oh, it's so nice to meet the CEO. Hey, can you do something about our ad revenue, please? Like,
probably. Yeah, I mean, in all reality, it's weird because they are probably in the crosshairs of this too. Not because of their original channel, which Ethan probably doesn't care about anymore anyway, because they never upload to it. They never really care to upload to it.
No, actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, a lot of people were worried about Ethan's old content getting ripped down. I don't think he cares one bit.
No, I mean the podcast. So, like, I'm agreeing with what you're about to say.
But yeah, the podcast, exactly. I mean, even on the Shoe Nice episode, he made jokes about Shoe Nice to Shoe Nice. They were mild, but still, they could constitute harassment. He has him on the podcast, but he's directing these jokes at him, depending on the person and how they view the term harassment. and based on the very vague guidelines, Shunice would be potentially capable of reporting him for harassment. Now I'm using this one more as an example because he would have a very weak argument for harassment, right? But the point is, the whole thing here is he is just as at risk as anybody else because he's constantly goofing on people, and in many cases it's the same people he's goofed on before. Papa John, for example, prime example. It might be a silly little joke, but constantly doing the Papa Bless meme, referencing Papa John, technically, by what harassment means, they're repeatedly referring to Papa John. If Papa John doesn't like them continuously referring to him that way, technically that he could get them for harassment.
The only argument I can make is the public figure argument. That's kind of always that gray area that comes down to defamation lawsuits. Is that
which they specifically in the terms say public figures are, you're not exempt from making fun of people because they're public figures. So technically,
really?
even by that logic, still no, you're not going to get away with it. Yeah, I saw. What was it? Memology? I think it was Memology.
Oh wow!
Tweeted it out
right there in the fucking policy. Holy shit!
Yeah, and Tommy C is actually the most bothered by the fact that the end of that statement is public officials, meaning we can't make fun of public officials. So I have to stop posting memes about AOC and her looking like this and her crazy eyes and all that. I think my Facebook banner is actually a picture of a really close up of her eyes going like this. So I think I have to take that down actually, just in case, because who knows what Facebook and all these other platforms are going to do next. Because you figure YouTube's doing this, sooner or later the other platforms are probably going to have to follow suit if they're going to get this strict about things.
Or they could just reverse it and be like, you know what? Fuck you guys. You have all the tools. Nice. We gave you all the tools. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. Why is that so... Okay. Think about Gab. Why is it so hard for a platform to be like, hey, we're okay with everything but porn? I don't agree with it. Twitter allows porn. Why the fuck are you getting all fucking censorious about porn? But it's their right. It's their right to say, yeah, we don't want porn on the platform. Why is YouTube constantly going, okay, well, the goalpost is moved. Fuck, advertisers are bitching us again. Move the goalpost. Fuck, advertisers are bitching again. Move the goalpost. Oh god, they're complaining again. Move the goalpost. Now the mothers are complaining, and the YouTube and the environment and the goddamn fucking FTC, it's all complaining at us. At what point do you sit there and go, fuck off? Who has been appeased? Name one YouTube change that's happened, even in like the biggest sentence, like from as little as like, oh, we removed the old banner ads or some shit like that. Like you can't post any more clickable links in your banners. Like, okay, that's annoying, but we'll adapt to that. Okay, we're changing the whole layout. You can't do that anymore. Like, well, okay, I guess we'll have to adapt to that. Oh, we're not sending out every notification. Okay, well, that's not the worst thing in the planet. It's annoying, but okay, well, the subscription button's broken. Instead of fixing it, we're just gonna add the bell. Okay, well, the bell's not working, so we're going to add the option to do all notifications off the bell. Okay, we're going to limit the notifications on... At what point do you not just realize we can't fucking do this? Stabilize the website, do obvious improvements, reduce the cost it costs to run all of the server space, because obviously it costs a fucking arm and a leg, and go, hey, advertisers, we are number one. Suck our cock. If you want to fucking advertise somewhere else, be our guest. You will not get the platform. You will not get the reach anywhere else. The only thing that might happen is that Netflix right now is in a prime estate position. Netflix is in a prime estate position that they're losing members. Disney Plus, Hulu, they're all starting to get really, really competitive and really good. So so Netflix needs more users. So what's to stop Coke from going, okay, well, we don't want our ads over on YouTube. We'll go to Netflix and be like, hey, Netflix, we'll give you $500 million. We'll give you $500 million, and you need to make a tier of Netflix that's $5 a month. You get all the streaming options, and there's just some limited ads in there, like one at the end, one at the beginning, and
But
one
you
at the end.
escape Coke. Escape the Coke.
Oh God, you'd never be able to escape Coke.
No, I could definitely see them doing like paying for more product. Like, that's a funny thing. Product placement. That's one thing I don't understand is YouTube hasn't gotten to the point with where product placement is enough yet, which is interesting. I mean, there's some videos where the entire video is built around something like Raid Shadow Legends or whatever, right? Where the whole video, the whole premise is they're playing the game as other things are going on around them or something. That's not what I'm talking about because the entire video is structured around it. But like product placement
So that's not
is
quite what I mean, though.
no,
But
no, I know.
go on.
This is a separate note that I'm bringing up. Like
Yeah.
the idea that product placement realistically might be in the future of content. Like instead of doing like a full blown sponsorship, because eventually people are going to get so tired of like a whole sponsor read, right?
Right.
What if you were selling multiple sponsor spots to where they're going like your Coca-Cola bottle or poster or whatever is going to be in the background of my shot the whole time? I don't know, just a side thought. Anyway,
Yeah, I think the big thing about product placement is that it's just not really efficient. It's only ever really good in those fucking movies, and that's kind of the problem. Is that if unless it's a full feature length thing, that's derived to be like the whole focus. Like a good example being like James Bond, like the dude who made the coat for James Bond in like that one winter scene I never fucking remember, and the one with the desert. Like people were actively searching that the coat that like Tom Hardy wore in Batman, the third Batman movie from the Nolan trilogy. Like those are the types of things that like product placement works, whether you don't even need to put a tag or a title or a thing on it. But when you sit there and go, "Oh, Elf," when Will Ferrell drinks the Coke, like the big giant thing with the label that fits perfectly on screen, people are mostly dissuaded from that. And I don't think there's an efficient way to do that unless it's around something like, oh, hey, this is my premium series, like my YouTube original. Other than that, I don't think it really works in any real context other than being like, hey, remember this product exists? Remember Red Bull?
right
It's here.
right now it doesn't work. I'm just saying like I think down the road that's something that's going to start working its way in. As the content and as the ad structure evolve. Because think about it, originally that wasn't how you did advertising in regular content in regular media either. And it slowly became more and more about micro advertising, things like product placement. I mean, there's still plenty of actual advertisements, but I mean, like when you go see a movie, you don't think about the Coca-Cola bottle or the Apple computer being paid to be there. You know what I mean?
So here's a small problem with it, because I agree with you. It's just an unfortunate reality of like our advertising industry is that Coke isn't paying you, Red Bull isn't paying you, Apple isn't paying you to get people to go to the store and go buy it. They're paying you so that you basically are just consistently reminding people enough times that they should go when they're thinking about buying a computer that, oh, right,
Yeah.
what's the first one? Apple. What's Microsoft? How many people know about Linux computers and the real like capabilities? It's just not the same. So when it comes to YouTube, the reason Raid Shadow Legends is so effective is because every single person comes on and basically goes, oh, hey, this was this little tiny company that made a game. It's free to play. You don't have to spend any money. You might like it, you might not like it. But it's there. It exists. Try it if you want. But they're paying me to tell you, hey, they've got these features, they've got these things that you really like. So why don't you give it a shot? It's a different type of marketing to sit there and tell people about a product that you may never have known existed and just constantly being like, Apple's there, Coke's there, Microsoft's there, they exist.
I don't know if I agree with that. Because think about it, YouTubers and stuff are constantly giving PCs, and then they have their PC in view of the shot. They were given a PC, and the idea is, well, keep your PC in view so people can see the product that we gave you, and then it'll be an advertisement every time you make a video with that computer shot. Look at streamers, Shroud, and all that. They have sponsors from the. Granted, that's a little bit different, kind of, but it's the same concept.
Right.
Where I'm Shroud, I've got my Razer gear, I've got Sennheiser headphones, whatever, and then all those logos are going to be right underneath my webcam and in the description below where you can buy all the things I'm using. I mean, part of it is kind of almost like affiliate level, but he's gifted those things because of his size. He's normally not buying them; he's being given them.
Yeah,
So
but
at the same
usually
time,
there's money
it's the
exchange
same
as well.
concept.
For somebody that big, there's usually money exchange as well.
But
Not
yeah,
always.
and a lot of times product placement. That's the way it works. But that's what I'm saying. Is it's the same thing. It's just viewed differently on YouTube,
Yeah,
and
and
it's existed, but it's never really gotten to a point where I feel it has, for lack of a better term, maximized its potential.
okay, so
Which yeah, that makes it sound like I support things like Iron Man 3 being almost entirely like Verizon commercial or whatever it was. No, I'm just saying that it could get much more egregious, I guess you could say,
so
than it
when I
is
do
right
my
now.
cooking series, you might not want to watch it. I'm just gonna say that. Just don't watch it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Depends on how much you're making. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Fucking okay. I mean, I'll tell you the whole fucking plan from the get go. I'm not like hiding. It's not like a secret. I have things that I'm keeping secret, but like, no joke. I have cooking series and show ideas, and literally what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be like, okay, the number one thing ad I see all the time are mandolins. Mandolins are the little things that you take like a potato and you slice it real thin, and you can set it on like a counter, and it's like an angle thing, and you can just slice real fast. I'm gonna literally do a video where it's like, hey, these are some mandolin recipes. Entire video is using the sponsored mandolin that they paid me buku dollars. It's still an educational video. It still has a point. It still has a reason to be existing. Oh, hey, here's an entire video based off of a HelloFresh meal. Here's how easy it is to use HelloFresh. The entire video is literally an ad for HelloFresh or some Blue Apron or some bullshit. Cooking is the most undertapped market for this on the fucking planet. And the nice thing is that if you can do two things, which is number one, meme, number two, appeal to younger individuals, more specifically families. Not like I don't want to appeal to children. I want to appeal to kids who are like 13 and they're like, hey, I saw this goofy video online, Mom. You want to cook this recipe that the dude made?
You want to appeal to 13-year-olds?
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Oh,
I don't know.
one of the few fucking people on the planet who will tell you that Kappa is a possible blessing in disguise.
No, I'm mostly kidding. I was
pervert?
actually
Is that what you saying?
when I was being quiet. I was actually trying to think of an I'm Alex joke to squeeze in there. I couldn't get it to work.
Pedophile. Just say that right. Come
No,
on.
I'm actually
be-
with you. The
don't
Kappa
be
could be
Alex.
Kappa could be a positive for a lot of people, while it's gonna be a negative for others. Yeah.
I'm happy though. Creekcraft was going to talk at I think the White House to the FTC. I was so fucking happy. I'm like, you're a YouTuber, yes. Say things. Although nobody will fucking say the words that I want to be fucking said, which drives me insane.
Did you see his video?
No, I haven't yet. Did he make one?
Okay. I watched part of it because Tommy showed part of it on his show today.
I'm gonna start this
Well,
shit.
seems like it was good. Seems like there was some good stuff.
Oh shit, nice. I didn't even know he made a video. I'll have to watch that shit later. Oh damn, he has like 800,000 subs.
So, basically, the whole thing with YouTube is over party. What do we think in general terms?
It's pre-crime. They want to be the pre-crime lords, and they need to fucking stop. In fact, they need to go backwards. The pendulum's gonna swing in the other direction, and this is what's gonna happen if BitChute finally gets its ass out of its head out of its ass. Is that people are gonna use YouTube only for marketing purposes. Nobody uses Facebook. Nobody uses Twitter for actual legitimate business purpose. Nobody's a professional Twitter user. Barely anybody's a professional Facebook user. There's going to be a point where nobody's on YouTube unless you're getting paid from YouTube, like Jimmy Kimmel, fucking John Oliver, etc., etc. Nobody's going to use it. The only thing they're going to sit there and do is go, I don't make anything from YouTube. YouTube doesn't want me on the platform at all, but I'm allowed to host my videos here. So when you really want to see good content, go over here. That's what's going to happen if BitChute ever gets its head out of its ass, which it's doing slowly. Minds is doing a decent startup. Not great, but it's doing some stuff. And
yeah, that's what Wubby does. That he just basically does YouTube content to bring in an audience and direct them to Twitch.
That's all it is. That is the smart way to go about it. And I think one of the nicest things was a good little proving ground was Simeon Jimmy, fucking oh god, Monkey. I was like, what the fuck was his name?
Yeah.
Like him basically going, I got fucked on YouTube. Here's my website. He had no notification he was gonna be banned, yet his website was still doing, according to him, decent numbers. Not great, but decent.
Yeah.
And there's a thing that's happening, and I'm gonna be fucking labeled outright for this shit. But Dave Rubin is making a new website. I don't agree 100% with what the bullshit is that he's saying about the website. But have you heard about this or no?
I have not.
So I'll explain it, and I'm gonna put some corrective ideas that I personally think would make it better. But I'll wait until the end until I explain it. So he's making this thing called locals.com, which amazing he got that URL, that domain name off the get-go. It's called locals.com. And what it is that creative individuals, video creators, bloggers, and something else, they're allowed to be on this website. Where basically, for a minimum of $2 a month, you can become a community member to whoever you want on this website. So it's kind of like a hybrid Patreon to YouTube exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that in your community, you set your own rules. So if you're like, hey, I want no hate speech, I want no racism, I want no malicious spam, you can set that rule. But Locals does not set that rule. Locals has one rule, and that is no illegal content on the site. And that is it.
But who polices the content?
Just the
who's policing the community? Just the community
Just the
members
community.
themselves?
Because his argument is, and I'm like,
Wait, you mean moderators would actually be moderators instead of just people that have a fancy title because the platform moderates itself?
Jake, shh. Don't say that.
That's insane. That's a crazy concept.
Being bad. They're gonna take away your money. Oh wait, sorry. Because you're not partnered. The big thing
Not
is
partnered with who?
YouTube.
Oh yeah, no.
I know you are on Twitch. No, whatever.
No wait. Technically, yeah, I am partnered, I guess.
Oh well, whatever.
Because I got monetized like 3 months ago.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so the idea though that he keeps proposing, and I'm like, this is ignorant. It's not gonna work. Is that he keeps using this phrase, skin of the game. He keeps saying is that you have to spend a little bit of money, and that you'll find that the trolls will disappear because nobody's giving you money to fuck with you. And I'm immediately like,
well,
Dave, come on, are you serious?
Has he not been on the internet?
So that's what he said, and he said
I
it like
know 5 or 6
times.
people that have donated to people until they got banned just so they could harass them.
Exactly.
$1 at a time.
I know it was the dumbest thing ever. He kept saying it over and over. He's like, "You're gonna find really controlled communities, and if you're harassing or toxic, we're giving you your money back." I'm like, Dave, no, bad.
Here's my biggest issue with all of this crap, right? All the tools are in place for people to already to moderate all this stuff themselves. The only thing you can't moderate is what someone else says about you. If you don't have a thick enough skin to just man up when somebody says, I don't like him, grow the frick up.
I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit here. I'm agreeing with you and disagreeing with you at the same time, and I will make a point here. You can do that. I can literally make it so that you can never in my chat or my community say the words, I don't like you, I dislike you, I hate you.
Oh no, I mean
I
you can definitely do that in your chat. I just meant like you can't stop somebody from making a video.
But I can
saying
block
they
them
don't
on
like you.
YouTube and I never have to see their video again.
True.
So I have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Here's where
that's what I'm saying. The argument some people have that like you can't stop your harassment in your own community is nonsense because you can, in terms of the platform itself. You can definitely stop that. Like the tools to block words in your comment section have been there forever.
So
you can.
Here's the interesting thing though.
Okay.
I gotta like I say is like I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also disagreeing with you. Is that at the end of the day, you have every moderation tool at your disposal, right? Like you have the ability to say, I don't want to invite this into my system. However, you have to have your own tenacity to do that. how many mothers were bitching to YouTube, to the FTC, and saying, why is my child exposed to this? Blank. Insert blank. You can tell your children, hey, there's this app out there called YouTube Kids. As a YouTuber, you can literally go, hey, here's all of your moderation tools. With your own skill and your own talent, your own capable two hands. I'm sorry, that's ableist. Your one capable hand. Sorry, fuck, that's able. Fuck, your two thumbs. You can type on the keyboard and use all of the tools that we provided you to do it. We can't do it for you.
We're still not disagreeing.
But that's the thing is, you're defaulted there. Well, you've defaulted there, sorry, to the saying that, oh, well, you have the ability to, or they have the ability, like YouTube has it, not the creator.
No, the creator has you can turn off the app. You can block certain comments. You can turn off comments altogether. There's a million different ways that you can keep that negativity from yourself. You can pay somebody else to go through every single one of your comments. If you're rich and you're a big YouTuber, you can pay somebody to go through your comments and delete all the naughty words. Like, there's a million different ways to hide that stuff from your eyes so you don't have to see it.
Right.
Blaming other people for highlighting things that you're doing wrong or highlighting things that they don't like about what you do as, a review or criticism is stupid. Yeah. Especially, and my point is, you're essentially, once again, we're putting the blame on the platform and not on the people themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So the platform is now parenting everyone. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Someday, another platform is going to overtake YouTube if they don't stop doing this.
Exactly.
Because there will be another platform eventually, and for sure, it will suffer a lot of the same thing. But I'll tell you what, if YouTube was more open about things, and they were more cooperative with the community wouldn't hate doing this stuff because they'd understand that it's more necessary. More of us would understanding it's necessary. There'd be plenty of people, that are just going to be stuck up and full of themselves and like, I refuse to change or whatever. But the point is, if YouTube wasn't so, concerned with keeping whatever secrets they have secret for whatever reason. I mean, for example, I saw something earlier. Somebody was saying that YouTube, when they made their comments to the FTC about getting more, we need to make sure this information is more clear and less vague. The levels of irony there are so painful to me that it's not even funny anymore. Because YouTube is one of the worst platforms for transparency. Arguably, Facebook has been more transparent because they've had less controversies that they had to reveal information through.
I just have to ask a question that I want an answer from somebody, and I'll never get this answer.
Right.
What do you gain? What does YouTube gain from this? What is the gain? What is earned? What is the winning? What is the ultimate end goal? Where is it? Because as far as I can tell, YouTube is not profitable. YouTube loses money year after year after year. YouTube is reliant on advertisers to even afford part of the server space, probably not even the staff. Oh, and also the staff getting paid fucking $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 salaries. The constant lawsuits that they're now having to pay out because they're discriminatory towards their own fucking employees. The incessant lawsuits from other countries because they're breaking the law. Oh, I'm sorry, the FTC as well as the United States now. Where are they winning? The only way they're winning is by using YouTube to be the second Google, to tell people to go to Google to make more money from Google. And at what point do you sit there and go, we haven't done anything that's made us money? Like, the number one thing I had a problem with when they changed the YouTube advertiser rules is I went, okay, I agree with the idea of changing it to, like, you need to have 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. I actually agree with that. Because you'll find less ISIS videos monetized then. Not all the time, but less. And you sit there and go, okay, but here's the thing. how many thousands upon hundreds of thousands, millions of channels were unpartnered or entirely demonetized. So now you have ad impressions that need to be delivered. You have companies that want to advertise here. You have companies that say, I want to advertise on specific demographics and will pay you to beat out competitor advertisements. You're not delivering ads anymore. You're not making money. As far as I can tell, you canceled YouTube Red. The Red series are dead.
I think there's another season of Cobra Kai, isn't there, coming out?
Well, that was a big one. But what I'm saying is,
There's
you don't have to pay for that anymore.
there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of you don't have to pay for that one. It was on YouTube Premium, which was the evolution of YouTube Red.
Yeah, from what I can tell, they're basically saying they either said all originals are free now, or what they're doing is they're staggering them and being like, they'll all be available for premium, but then we're staggering them out for the rest of us. Because like they made Vsauce, some of Vsauce's thing free, but then I think like his most recent season's still behind the paywall. That's what I mean. It was like, that's what's fascinating about this, is that they haven't made one profitable move. And I can give you some fucking profitable moves anyway.
Well, they're trying to make it as profitable as possible, but at the same time, the main thing with YouTube is more the fact that it is a monopoly. They essentially have a monopoly on this type of content, this type of platform.
But here's the thing.
So maintaining that monopoly is more important to Google than it is the financials of it.
But here's
because
the thing.
At least they're able to control it.
Due? When does the bill come due? When can you realize that, oh hey, we have $5 billion owed to Amazon, and they want their fucking money?
Think about the number of platforms, the number of companies and websites and all that probably work with Google, right?
Right.
Think about the number that's probably like an insane number, some kind of insurmountable number in the millions, right? That somehow have some kind of working with Google AdSense or something, right? Where do the videos for AdSense ads, like where do the videos that on AdWords and all that, where do they come from? Where do they store those videos? Probably store them on YouTube. And then those videos that get put on other platforms as ads are stored on YouTube and then hyperlinked or whatever embedded into the website from YouTube. So they're getting free storage, but Google is probably getting money for views of content that's actually stored off-site. I mean, it's stored on YouTube, but displayed off-site.
That is a good point. I
never
actually considered that.
Yeah, so that's just one possibility. Like, think about how many websites and stuff involve things like tutorials and things like that, and it's not even a matter of a YouTube channel. Maybe they have everything because there's plenty of ads I've seen on YouTube where obviously the ad has to be stored on YouTube to be an ad on YouTube as a video, but you can't find the video itself because it's unlisted or private or whatever, but then it's linked through the ad program and then it becomes visible. So there's so many different ways that Google probably benefits from this that has never been like publicly broken down, that we probably have no clue. We're probably way off on estimates of how much they make off of YouTube when you factor in all those extra benefits that they get, even company benefits that they get from other companies where they have some kind of deal with, hey, do this with YouTube this way or whatever, and this is how it benefits our company. I worded that really weird, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
And I'm like,
what's the term?
And I'm like, yeah, that would make a greater sense where it's like AdWords is what's dominating a huge portion of how they're basically just like, oh hey, this is what keeps us going. This is how we basically have so ingratiated AdWords into the system with Google, with YouTube, with the entire AdWords program. Which, by the way, I heard some crazy fact some time ago, like something like 60 to 80% of all websites that are using AdWords that have like monetization on them of some sort. And I heard that and I was like, no fucking way. I could be kind of wrong on that though.
I gotcha.
So, But still, I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting point. I still think at the end of the day, though, they're probably eating a bit of a loss.
Oh no,
Or,
for
I'm
sure.
sorry, a lot of
For
loss.
sure. At least on YouTube. I don't even know if. Here's the thing. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't even have like all that stuff broken down by what comes from YouTube. Because think about it. If they did, YouTube would be like we would know that because YouTube is they've publicly said before that YouTube is not profitable. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. Blah blah blah. Right. But those connections, not even necessarily the money they make from the connections, but the connections themselves that they have to other companies. If YouTube was to go away, there's plenty of places that would take a massive hit in their business because of whatever they do, whether it be
Oh, yeah.
we do tutorials or we do
I
this or
wish
we
for
do
that
that.
day.
And I'm not even talking about stuff that's like how-to channels on YouTube. I'm talking about websites. Like if you figure like a website like WikiHow. Like if WikiHow used videos instead of their little cartoon things, something like that. There's plenty of websites out there that do stuff like that. They house it on YouTube and they put it on their own website so that they can monetize the ads on the website however they want.
I think you have a good point. Although, I just think I want that day to happen, so I don't care. I want YouTube or Google to implode upon itself, and I mean, I'm being ironic here, but be regulated out of existence just to watch the rest of the fucking internet crumble. Because
I said, go ahead.
Isn't there a sick sense of satisfaction of being like, what if we just killed the electricity? Just no more electricity. Don't you just want to know what would happen? How would we like? We just stopped the electrical grid. You can make your own electricity. You could still like do solar panels. You could find your own batteries. You could still make your own batteries. But we just killed the electricity. No more electricity for you. Isn't there a sixth sense of you that just makes you go, maybe it's time we do that. Maybe it's time that like just YouTube or Google just goes the way of MySpace. Just gone.
Part of me does like post-apocalyptic aesthetic. So part of me would enjoy that visually, but I would hate living like that. Let's put it this way. I was a massive outcast. Personally, I'm still feel. I mean, I'm not. I don't have any like super close buddies online or anything really for the most part. So I still feel a little bit like not an outcast. I feel like I'm not like on the in with a lot of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in the real world, I'm such a freaking outcast because I just don't fit in. But online, I fit in.
If only Google and YouTube, if Alphabet, just the company itself said we're shutting doors tomorrow, though, you'd be fine. Like Microsoft still exists, Internet Explorer is still a thing. Ask Jeeves, I think, is a thing. DuckDuckGo. I'm just saying,
I might not be making videos anymore if there wasn't a place. But I mean, there would still. I mean, without YouTube, there's still other places.
Oh yeah, there's always a place. It's not very popular, but there's somewhere.
I've said this before. If YouTube was to go away, I would continue streaming. I would probably put more time into streaming, and I would probably still make videos, and then like once a month, feature a video on my stream, kind of like how you premiere videos on YouTube.
Right.
But instead, I would actually like air the video as part of my stream and try and make it like an event thing. I don't think it would do that well.
No.
But I would feel much better about it than not uploading videos at all. And I feel like it would add something to the stream in a way. So there's plenty of ways to go about this moving forward. One thing I've said for a long time, and personally, I have a hard time moving forward on it myself because I just don't have that much time. But if you have a group of people, like if you have just a bad example, let's say like Rooster Teeth, right? They made their own website. They have their own subscription model. And you can watch a lot of the content on their own website. If YouTube was to die tomorrow, they could move to a different host and they would continue uploading videos on their own website. It would be a decrease in viewership because YouTube didn't exist anymore. But people that were really fans of that content would seek out some way if the entire platform was to suddenly, oh, bye-bye, we're gone. Um, so I think one thing that a lot of people need to consider, if you've got a group of friends that upload similar content, right, is making a group website.
Oh yeah.
That way the website has multiple people promoting it to multiple audiences. If you're not, if you're, because here's the thing, if you had let's go back 6 months, right? I'm Alex and James Marriott and everybody, all that whole group was so close, constantly posting videos of collaborations and all that stuff. Still do, not as often because there's been some issues, but it seems like a lot of that's worked out. But anyway, point is, you go and you watch, this group,
Yes.
they go in on one website, like 6 different profile pages or whatever, where each person has a feed of their own stuff, and then a hub page where a lot of other stuff happens. And then they all promote the same website,
So
and then their audiences continue to grow because they're all promoting the same website.
I gotta interject here, because I feel like, as a person who's done this, tried to do this, continues to try to do this, I can explain this in a couple of ways. And I hate saying this. I really fucking do. Because I want this to be. I want exactly what you said to be reality. I want that. I fucking have been working towards that for the last 7 years for one thing like that. There's problems. Is number one, there's no adults. The biggest flaw about these groups is that it's almost...
That was just using that as an example, though. I mean, like, for example,
but
I would love to do a group like that.
That would.
I'm an adult, and I know what I'm describing.
Let me get into it.
Okay.
We don't know what a trend is until it happens. You can't predict virality. You can try your best to go off of trends or do follow algorithms or follow numbers. But let me put it this way. There's no AI in the world that can sit there and say 1,000-degree knives are in today. One person just decides to do it, and people just unanimously sit there and look and go, I don't know why, but I like that. Even though I've never seen it before, I've never experienced, or maybe I've experienced something similar to that, they like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is that many of those virality trends, many of the trends that exist, are started from young people. The ratio of people who are under 18 years old who create very viral, good marketing, good content that people actually enjoy, that new generations enjoy, are young. Mm-hmm. There are very few people over the age of 27, we'll say, who make that type of content. And what happens is that, well, I made the trend. I made the 1,000-degree knife. I'm the first person to do it. Now everyone's copying me. I'm a little jaded. Well, now you want me to work with people who also make similar content? You mean the people who stole from me? Who stole my idea? Let's take a commentary community. I'm Alex, and you say, wait, I have to work with Slazzo, or I have to work with James Marriott, who have a tenth of the subscribers that I do. Oh, now they're getting bigger than me, and I'm not getting any subs anymore. Oh, why the fuck would I work with them? I'll just say they're a pedophile, or I'll accuse them or some shit, or I'll say that Marriott's making me do all the work on the podcast. There is an intrinsic flaw in young people that they sit there and say to themselves, I am competing with somebody. I am in a fight with somebody for views. I'm in a fight for them with audience. I'm in a fight with them for attention. And the numbers are limited, and I want to be on top. And what you need, as much as it's really difficult to say because I have very little proof of this right now, is you need one person who's an adult, somebody who's 30 years old, who sits there and says, all right, I'm taking, just because they're in my head now, I'm Alex, Willany, Memulus, and True Jordy. We're sticking them in a house, and we're calling them the Jordy Gang. And Jordy's the head of the whole organization. He runs the business side of things, and he keeps the other three in line. But they all make content on their own website, and they make those special features. But they also do YouTube videos as well. And nobody wants to do that, is willing to do that, or willing to take the time to do that. Granted, yeah.
That's why you get a community manager.
Oh yeah.
Somebody who you pay to manage the website for you.
Why would I trust you though?
See,
What point do I have to trust you if you're not in the community right now, or you're not doing videos, or you're not
You
popular?
get somebody that's like a business manager and knows how to manage a website with infrastructure.
Well, how do I know you did
Because
that?
because then it's not about the community. It's about you manage the business.
You're not making the videos.
They're the talent.
Why would I give you money if you're not making videos? How do I have your track record? You gave me a resume. Well, what's a resume? I'm 16. What's a resume?
The same reason they hire somebody to take care of their finances for them.
Oh well, that person's a CPA. They got a license for that. I trust them. My parents told me to trust them.
Okay, so why wouldn't you hire like I said, somebody that like has actually gone to school for business?
Oh, Alex fucked me over.
To manage the website.
Alex fucked me over. I got
okay,
caught,
but that happened on YouTube anyway. My point is, if there wasn't a YouTube,
but Jake,
what would they do? My point is, if there wasn't a YouTube,
I've dealt with. This is
you're not bringing up any argument to any of the stuff I just said though. You're just telling me this is exactly the problem, but you're like, okay, you're using an argument that already happened on YouTube. But guess what? They're all still doing content and they're even collaborating again.
Oh, they're slowly a collaboration is not the same as an organization.
Okay, here's the problem though, all right? Here's the problem. What is the main issue you have with the concept? Who would you put in charge? Okay, like I said, you hire a business manager.
Right.
A business manager, as in somebody who went to school for business to manage a business. They're not involved with the content. They just look at the numbers of the website and they figure out who's getting what, how do we improve the flow of the website, the functionality of the website, what's underperforming, what needs to perform better, that kind of stuff. Right. It doesn't matter if they're in the community or not. They're being paid to be a manager of the website, not of the talent.
But you saw like my whataboutism, right? That was a big thing.
You sound like you were talking about like what if somebody starts trouble with the other ones, but then that's what the business manager does. He separates them.
Well, if I have you in
because
a
none of them none of them is in charge of the finances of the entire whole thing. So like for example, when Sky Does Minecraft started his group, right, and then eventually they got like not a whole mansion, like an office building and all this stuff.
But you saw
he wasn't the one in charge of all that,
right?
Right, it fell apart, yes, but that doesn't mean that they like the concept is wrong. That means something went wrong.
But that's what I'm coming at you and saying, and this is me speaking now more like me, because what I was doing is I'm telling you the type of responses I've gotten from people. That wasn't me just like being like, oh, these are my real legit feelings. This is the type of stuff that was the type of stuff I was hearing. But anyway,
right.
But me speaking,
I don't know. My point is that using those as an argument doesn't really make sense to me when they happened already on a platform. So saying that concept wouldn't work because these things happened on YouTube doesn't mean it's not going to happen somewhere else. But it also doesn't mean that it is going to happen somewhere else, because none of these situations have happened the same way around at all. For example, the whole reason, a big reason that the Sky Does Minecraft thing fell apart was because they all formed a group when they were in Minecraft. Then Minecraft died, and a lot of them didn't know what to do, and they all fell apart. So the business fell apart because the money wasn't really there in the right ways.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you, because I do agree, is that, like saying Sky Does Minecraft group, none of them are still existing or around. The only ones that exist...
I mean, they all still are. They just don't do it nearly as much.
But
like Ant Venom's still around. Steven Septic was not part of that group specifically, like working in their office, but he's still around.
Well, most of the ones that are public prolific groups, like even think of Blue Zyphos, or like that whole who are the guys who got canceled recently? The Blue Zyphos folks.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's another Minecraft or popular group where they basically signed in a bunch of YouTubers, and then they found out the people who started the Kickstarter for the game, and then they never delivered, and then they offered some other game bullshit, something like that. It wasn't Yogscast, but it was somebody adjacent to Yogscast. But anyway, they've been having troubles. They have corrupt management. They have people who are getting Me Too'd. Look at Rooster Teeth. Rooster Teeth gets acquired by businesses, and now they're having troubles, and then they're letting people go. Look at the Troll House, which is an OG group, and there was 4 basically fucking teenagers doing it.
Steve, it seems like almost every time that one of these situations happens, it's almost always after an actual like corporation steps in, though. Like, for example, with things like SourceFed. SourceFed was actually going on the up. They weren't failing anymore. They were going up, and they were shut down. Super Panic Frenzy was one of their branches, and that was shut down as well as they were continuing to rise, because they started out good and they took a dip, and then they're starting to go back up, and the company that was in charge shut them down because they just didn't care anymore.
No, that was operating costs, from what I recall from Discovery. Discovery wanted to reduce on their operating costs, so they cut them. But
well, the Super Panic Frenzy one, yeah, I mean that was supposedly what part of that was, but my point is that they were on the uptrend. So like they're heading in the right direction. But we're not going to give them a chance to. We're not going to see where it goes. We're going to just cut it off. We're just going to cut it off now, even though it's going in the right direction. We're going to stop. That was, but that my point is though that was a corporate decision.
Yeah.
Not something that happened because of like an independent group fell apart.
And
so
that's
if SourceFed had never been sold to like some kind of conglomerate or anything like that, well, they might still be around.
The super whatever, because I don't actually know them, might not have existed if Philip DeFranco had to self-fund the whole thing. Assuming he had never sold it off to Discovery, when the YouTube money dried out, there would have been no way for him personally to afford hiring and keeping all the people on SourceFed and this channel as well. That's kind of the intrinsic flaw of having so many people on a team like that.
I don't know. Something doesn't make sense about that. If SourceFed wasn't profitable when he sold it, why was he able to even sell it?
Because it has reach, and it's a lie. It's the same scandal that and the Smosh guy went through. It's going, we're selling based on speculation. There's no real numbers here. We're selling on speculation.
Things were good with Discover for a long time until Discover decided to sell them. It wasn't like a short-term purchase that Discover made. They had them for a while.
But Discover got acquired or something like that, and they needed to make cuts to their operating costs, if I recall.
I don't think they were acquired, because Discover is Discovery Channel. It was a branch of Discovery. Because I remember Suptic and some of the other guys specifically saying that Discovery Channel was sending them places.
Discovery-backed group 9 Media to shut down Philip DeFranco. SourceFed among massive shift. Last week, and this is from TubeFilter, which is pretty reliable from what I can tell.
Yeah, usually they're pretty good.
Announced decision to take the week off from YouTube in order to give him some time to sort out some personal and business stuff in his life. Now we know some business stuff. Spoke of TubeFilter's on Group 9 Media, the Discovery-backed venture that was control of major... Oh, fuck off, advertisement. SourceFed, layoffs were not so SourceFed nerd, and people be like, channels all getting axed in order to commemorate what would be the last SourceFed. They said a goodbye video. Fuck, where is it? There was a fucking comment to be made in here. Which found the project? Oh my god, this is so fucking ridiculously long. No, they don't say anything in here particularly about why they laid him off. They just say that they did lay them off, but nothing. I don't see anything. There's Medium.
Group 9 wanted to convert the channels. Oh, you mean Super Panic Frenzy, or you mean SourceFed?
SourceFed, because that's the one I know off the top
Yeah, no,
of
they
my head,
they wanted to use their channels.
I don't think they wanted to use them. They were just
yeah.
Like,
you don't remember that?
But
they
turned
Super.
That was after they cut them, though. They cut them.
Yeah, that was like a few months after they cut them.
See, if I'm I think you like underestimate turnover. I've seen there's many times where you will hire 1,000 people to make a video game, and then you go, okay, well the game's made, so I'm gonna lay off 90% of you, and now I only have 100 of you. But then I'm going, well shit, I can make DLC for the game. So
I remember some stuff going around. There was a history of this channel, of this group, trying to take channels and convert them to make a new user base out of an existing user base.
Well, yeah.
Because they were trying to duplicate the content from Facebook and make it work on YouTube. They had tried this multiple times.
Right.
They just buy up channels and then they were trying to make that format work from another platform on YouTube, and it doesn't work because that content worked on Facebook for a reason. The way Facebook works in the mobile market. My point is that they didn't buy. They bought what they thought was a usable network. They only had them for a very short amount of time before they sold them, before they closed them down.
Discover
Rather,
had them for like
no, no,
3 years.
no. Discover sold them to Group 9.
Oh, they sold them to Group 9 and then Group 9 laid them off?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm mixing that up then.
I watched like every upload from them during that period of time. So I remember them actually talking about the sale.
Lordy.
It might have been that Discovery sold some kind of digital branch that they had.
In June 2013, Philip DeFranco sold Solar. This is on from the Wikipedia. SolarSfed to Rev 3. DeFranco came under Rev 3. Rev 3 itself was acquired by Discovery Communications in 2012, which was noted on The Verge. So they were bought out by Rev 3, which was already under Discovery. So they were probably trying to figure out, okay, well, we bought this Rev 3 thing. Let's figure it out. While discussing the cancellation in 2017, DeFranco detailed that after selling DeFranco Creative Umbrella to Rev 3, he began having less involvement in SourceFed. Before having no involvement at all, DeFranco expressed some bullshit original content. Where the fuck is this?
Well, if you look at it's chronological. You're going like 2016. The Google Hillary Clinton video was like 2 years before they shut down.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, the 2016, the Hillary Clinton video, which I don't even know what that's about. All right. 2016, Discovery eventually renamed Rev 3 and DeFranco Creative
Group 9 merger and cancellation.
Yeah, to list under their ownership, and that was
Rev 3, which was the Discovery branch.
So they merged with Group 9.
Yeah. It was the way they said it was. They said it was sold. They referred to it as a merger, but it was actually a selling. That was how it was constantly referred to. Discovery Communications sold its assets.
Right.
They sold it. So the merger was they bought it. It wasn't a merger.
Well, but my point is, how long was Group 9 holding it before they inevitably cut it and then rebranded immediately? So that's my only thing.
Well, let's see.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. On May 4th, they were rebranded to Now This Nerd. So that was May 4th.
Okay, so yeah, look, it says it was in the end. It looks like it was in the end of 2016 because the middle of 2016 they were still owned by Group 9 because the Hillary Clinton thing took place in 2016. So they only had it for less than a year before they shut it down.
I mean, even still, you can kind of make an argument there, but that I'm gonna more lean towards you now because I'm like, yeah, I think that is more indicative that they finally looked at the property after a few months and then went, well, why are we doing this shit? SJW politics is in right now, so
yeah. Well, the all the evidence pointed to at the time, things like the Dodo and all their other branches that were on Facebook were killing it by doing the content the way they do it. The problem is they do that. All the text and the very visual content that really only works when you can sit there and watch it without actually tapping on the video to get audio and all that stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that they do, and it doesn't work on YouTube because you have to actually have the video playing in your feed for it to attract you.
Well, the whole wokenomics 2 shit is worn off by then as well. That was
that too, but a lot of it was like animal videos and stuff like that, where they don't really work on YouTube anymore as much.
Yeah.
Unless, like you said, it's like a wokenomics thing, where like we're freeing the pigs.
Kind of back to the original point though, I would still kind of argue. I mean, a little bit less so with this one, is that there have been little to no, if barely any, groups or corporations that have successfully merged like this and done it to the point where I can convince a 16-year-old successfully to do exactly what we're talking about. Because
but I'm also not talking. I'm also talking about more like as a bridging the gap.
Oh yeah.
Because this like for example, if YouTube killed like Mumkey, right?
Right.
Mumkey was able to get by on his personal channel until he found other alternatives. That's my main point. It's like it's good to have that backup. It's not like, I'm not saying that like if YouTube was to die tomorrow, if you built your own website, you're gonna be great. No, I mean you're still gonna struggle. It's still not gonna necessarily be as good as having the reach that YouTube gives you.
I'd argue you could do it, but that's.
I mean, I'm not saying it like I said. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm saying that it bridges the gap. Maybe you do it, maybe you don't, because there have been plenty of websites that have taken off before. My point is that it's your best bet is to have that as a backup, because like for example, like BitChute, there's a lot of stuff about BitChute that is not necessarily positive in terms of like what people talk about with BitChute.
Publicity. Yeah.
So people have insinuated that if you're on BitChute, you're a Nazi. I've seen people actually make that argument.
Yeah, but that's competition killing. That's all that is.
Yeah, no,
yes,
I know. I know. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that it steers people away from the competition.
Right.
So YouTube, like, I'm saying that like just because YouTube doesn't exist anymore doesn't mean BitChute's going to necessarily blow up, right?
Yeah.
Because BitChute still, there's already a stigma around BitChute.
Although
things like TikTok though, come around. So I'm not.
That's not a TikTok. Fair fucking comparison.
I hate TikTok. Look, hear me out.
No, because that was Musical.ly. They were bought out by.
No, but Musical.ly took off too.
Yeah, I'm
TikTok.
Musical.ly, I would say, is a better example. That's what I'm trying to say.
My point is still though that these platforms, no one knew that name. No one knew that name before. It just blew up. Right? So these things do happen because like you had Vine, you had Snapchat. I still don't understand how Snapchat became what it is, but what the frick ever. The point is, there's always something around the corner. It's just a matter of waiting. Because think about like Twitch right now is still massive. That one was at one point a nothing. That was a nothing property. Now it's huge. It's huge. It competes with YouTube in a sense, even though really they're two separate types of content. The point is that in terms of what they deliver, video content, in that sense that they compete, they're the two biggest that exist, and they are technically both monopolies because there's no company that's competing with Twitch, not even YouTube when it comes to streaming.
Excuse me, Mixer. What the hell's wrong with you? Don't leave out the competition.
Oh, it has not gotten to that level yet.
No, I know.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but currently Twitch still has a monopoly.
Oh,
my point is, there's almost always something else coming around the corner. So the idea of having a website where a bunch of people upload and maybe even are able to do their own Patreon thing, like they do with Rooster Teeth First and things like that, is still a good idea. I'm not saying it's going to make you, I'm not saying you're going to create the next Newgrounds website, right? I'm not saying that you're going to make the new YouTube.
So
I'm saying that could help you have an outlet to retain your following a little bit until the next thing comes around the corner.
I'm going to stop being a contrarian now, okay? Because that was a lot of me just being a contrarian.
I get you.
You can do it. You can do something exactly like you just said, and you can legitimately do it and be more profitable than anything you do on YouTube. Anything. There's a way to do it, and I know the ways to do it. I have a fucking roadmap that is pretty reasonable for the most part, with a couple exceptions. Like one of the roadmaps is like you inevitably living in the same like couple mile radius. You don't have to live in the same house. You just have to live in the same radius.
Yeah, that's very helpful, having people to collaborate with in person. Always, like, that's one of the things that kills me about making my content, is the fact that I'm doing it by myself.
Yeah.
If I was doing videos with people more often, it'd be a lot more fun.
And that's why you do something pretty simple, which is get the fuck out of California. And what you do is you go, hey, we have unions. We're going to just call them unions because that's a simpler way to explain this. We're calling this the East Side Union. We're calling the West Side Union. We're calling the South Side Union. We're going to go full Teamsters here. Fucking Jimmy Hoffa. And what you go is, for example, because I live here, you say Buffalo is the East Side Union. So the areas around Buffalo, New York, you go to the people who run Buffalo, New York and go, hey, we're a creative team. We can drive people here. We can get people here. We can get more people to come into this fucking city, because we'll say the city of Buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to the town and say, we're YouTubers and we want to start pushing more Buffalo shit. We want to be like, hey, Buffalo, because Buffalo's got the SUNY system, the State Universities of New York, and we want to push more kids here because we're attracting kids. That's our main demographic, is like 13 to 18-year-olds, and they want to go to college. So what you need to do is, you need to give us tax credits. You need to give us business loans. You need to give us a place to do what we do and not have the fucking cops called on us. You need to give us security details. And that's all you need. But what you have to do is, you have to drive and drive and drive and drive and drive that narrative. And what you would find is that you would decentralize this fucking stranglehold that California and New York City has on things. That's the first thing you do. Second thing you do is you go, hey, if we all lived in like the same 10-mile radius, here's what we do. We meet up at a house to come to work, quote unquote. And then we just fuck around like we normally do. And we have an editor who works there. We have our business manager who works there. In fact, we have a fucking nanny who comes by, or like a cook that comes by and cooks our food. Some shit like that. You get all your meals there. You get your fucking, like, you shit your shower. You got a couple clothes there. You basically secondary live there. But then outside, you got your own fucking personal life. And that's a big key that people fuck up. Is that they live together. Yeah. You don't fucking live together. It's a terrible idea. You can live with two people, like, oh, you just me and you, and then the other two guys live in a different house. But you cannot.
I think it depends on how big the house is and all. Because a lot of times the problem is that people live too close together.
Yes.
But like, what is it? Like the Misfits. They all live together. From what I've seen, I don't follow them much at all. But their podcast is okay when there's not an official podcast to listen to. Theirs is okay. But yeah, like they don't sound like they hate each other at all from living with each other. Like they've got some gripes, but it doesn't sound like it's any more than a normal roommate relationship thing.
And they got fucking drugs in the house. And believe me, that shit wears really fast on people. I've seen it many times.
That's why that's one of the reasons that they're splitting up a little bit again. From what they've been talking about, is like they need to all have their own space and be a little bit more chill, have more time to themselves than they currently have just having rooms.
Exactly. And that's the biggest flaw, and that's why I say you cannot live in the same house and work out of the same house. You have to have a house that is the workhouse, and you have to live in a fucking apartment, even if it's just a place to store your shit.
Or even better, you could live a couple of hours out of LA.
You're goddamn right.
You could live one state over and have a nice big property where you could even have a warehouse with offices set up,
like Mr.
and record
Beast.
in there. Yeah. So, I'll be honest. Here's the thing. Eventually my goal, if I'm able to could he plan Epstein didn't kill himself. You're not wrong. My plan, and Allison and I have talked about this, is if we ever are in a position where we have the money to move, we can afford it, we can do it, let's go for it. Where do we go? It's either Delaware or it's the Carolinas.
Fuck yeah. Those are the two places to go.
Given our current geographical location and the fact that it would just be us moving and not my parents and all that too, Delaware would be a good choice because of that. Delaware's also not that expensive to live in. Yeah, taxes is one good thing about it. Delaware also has a good connection to everything. They're not necessarily far from anything. You got lots of different areas to go where there's deserts, there's mountains, there's rivers, there's the ocean, there's everything.
So you want to hear something fucky that I'm like wondering if I can do? I'm being serious here when I say this. Girlfriend and I own property. I'm probably gonna own more property down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Our property's operating out of Buffalo. We'll just say Buffalo, just to keep it vague. My girlfriend makes good money, and if I can make enough clients from my shit, I might propose this idea and literally be like, I own fucking property. Hey, just because he's the name that I'm thinking of right now, Cavos. I will give you free fucking room and board to work out of. I will be your business manager. You can live here. You can keep doing the videos you do. You exist here. I'll get your visa, your business license visa to work here. I'll get you set up. You have to work with Keem, even though Keem's a bad example. Not Blade. I was about to say Blade. I was like, oh
Diorio.
Shit. Yes, actually, Diorio would be a fucking great example. Diorio. I will give you rent free to live here to keep making videos. I'm Alex. You're next. And I would legitimately put the three of them into the same fucking house and record that. And because Keem had this idea fucking years ago, that exact idea, and I was like, dude, why didn't you do this? It would have been a fucking $1 million idea. But that's not the point.
There is a show kind of like that, except it's more about
like Big Brother, isn't it?
Yeah.
But regardless, back to a little bit more real. I'm being funny a little bit, but I go,
yeah,
okay,
I gotcha.
Kavos, we'll say I'm Alex. Somebody who's a little like you have to have one person in there who's like they contend with, but the person that they're like they don't gang up on him. You got to have like a split. You can't gang up on somebody because then it gets real bad real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like the houses that I own, they're duplexes so far, except for this house. But we're gonna be going for duplexes. You basically go, okay, you two live on that side, you two live on this side. Stay the fuck out of each other's side unless invited. And literally just be like, hey, I'm your business manager. I will give you these properties rent free, but you're working with me. I am your business manager. We're doing the whole group idea as you're speaking about right now, and you will fucking listen to me. And here's the thing, like any landlord, except for I'd be a little bit weird because I'd be like a landlord / house dad. I'd basically go in and be like, I'm going to feed you fuckers so you eat nutritional food. I'm going to keep you fuckers healthy. I'm going to keep your fucking rooms organized. And I'm going to treat you like you're people living in a house, like you're an adult, like you're going to work to do YouTube videos. And you would find a lot of adults start popping out of that system. It'd be possible. Fucking really hard to convince somebody, hey, I know you're 18 and you're supposed to be going to like university or college and being like an adult, but you've got a YouTube career and I want to give you free rent.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not an easy sell.
Yeah. But I mean, my whole point is I don't understand why more YouTubers haven't specifically moved away from the cities, but not away from the city. Because it would be, first of all, cost of living is lower outside the cities.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases. Secondly, you have the room to do things out there. You don't have to do things in the city. You don't have the traffic and all that. You can actually relax a little bit. The worst case scenario is you have to commute to the city on occasion for business meetings and stuff. But most of the time, you're with your business partners.
You don't need to commute for business meetings
out in the middle of nowhere. I'm saying, like, if you have to go meet a business, or if you're going to an event or something like that. That's what I mean.
Events, yes, but business meetings, no. You literally go, hey, get on fucking Skype. Put me on a Skype video.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's in this day and age. If you have to have a face-to-face meeting, you're wasting my fucking time.
Yeah.
Unless you want to charter a private plane and my board as well, you're wasting my fucking time.
Like, that's what gets me about the fact that people like no one's in places like the Carolinas. There's not a whole lot of people I see talking about being in Florida that are YouTubers.
Florida's a fucky area though.
Well, so is California in terms of like some different things like the fires. Like, I'm just surprised more people don't consider things that are a little bit further from the shore than they are. Because, I mean, like, think about it. Like, why not? Realistically, why not? What's the downside?
But, well, because I'll give you the downside. When you move away from somebody, you're fucking stranded if things go fucking awry. Yeah, like, that's the big thing. That's a valid concern.
But no, but I mean, like, if you're talking about like I said, the Carolinas or something, yeah. But I'm talking about, like, if you had like a group of people that was all in that area, then you wouldn't suffer that as much because you're the whole group compounds. The whole group solidifies each other.
So okay, I'll give you
in most cases.
I will give you some answers about something like that, but I also want to wrap up because we are going a little off topic.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of like, well, if we're not really going too much, we're just going to go on this for 7 years. We can make that an entire live stream. But
very fair.
You have to realize 3 factors that really impact why this doesn't happen. The first one is that it's competition to them, and that's like kind of just an inherent. They are people who are creators are competitive. Now, a derivative of that, which is still number 1, is that fairness. So, if I'm popping off like Marriott, and I'm Alex sitting there standing at and not gaining subs anymore because I'm not making content or good content anymore, why would I, James Marriott, share value with I'm Alex if I'm pulling in more sales or more dollars than him? It's a really hard mindset to sit there and pick and choose who makes the money, who doesn't make the money. And
Yeah,
people are
with
very
kids again, it would.
anti-splitting.
Yeah.
People don't want even splits, and I don't think it's necessarily unfair to say that people should expect even splits. Like, well, there's four of us, so we should all get 25%. It's like that's not how the real world works, and that's really
Yeah.
difficult to do. The second reason is that you have to have everyone align perfectly. If they're gonna live together, they have to be perfectly compatible, better than fucking boyfriends and
Well,
girlfriends.
I'm not saying they have to live together.
But
And
that's what
I
I'm
wasn't
getting to.
saying, and I wasn't talking about like the whole idea of the whole idea of the them sharing a website and all that wasn't that like, well, they all share the profit equally. Like, you would
Yeah,
still treat each person's profile and uploads, like you would be able to track those metrics, and you'd be able to say,
right.
okay, this much came from this video, and then they would still earn like they do on YouTube.
So the problem
You
with that,
arguably may even get a better CPM depending on how popular you are before leaving YouTube.
you would get actually a better CPM. That's an entirely different thing. But the only reason why that's not easy to do is because you'd have to pay somebody to build that kind of website. I personally don't know of any websites that will do that level of metrics for you. Usually that's like you have to pay a programmer to make those types of features. When I went to VidCon, I saw a website which I have to look into. I don't know the details though. I have their business card somewhere. But to do that level of like metrics and being like, well, because my example, here's what my idea was. Like locals with Dave Rubin's thing is you go, okay, you can be, there's free viewership on the website. There's free anything. But what you do is you have a promo code. And what you sit there and do is like say Wild Spartans, Quite, and fucking Diesel are all a local, a group, whatever. They all make their own videos, but they're part of the Loudmouths. That's because that's their podcast name.
Mm-hmm.
So the Loudmouths are making content. When you pay your $3 to watch their premium videos, you can use a promo code to get 10% off. So it costs you $270 a month to subscribe to their thing. So you get a coupon code for 10% off. If you don't use the coupon code, it just goes to the whole group. But if you use the coupon code, that cut will go to a person. So what you say is, okay, we have 30% of the signups go to Wild Spartans because he's the biggest one. 20% go to Quite, and then 20% go to Diesel. Well, that's 70%, and then 30% people didn't use the promo code for whatever reason. Well, now we kind of have a breakup of how the numbers look, how the money should go. In fact, you could do a little friendly competition to be like, don't use Quite's code, use Wild Spartan's code, and that could be a thing in their videos. Hashtag use code Spartans or something like that. And that's the simplest, kind of most baseline thing that you can do that's easily measurable.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I actually can see metrics like number of views on a page and things like that with my website, and it's just a WordPress website.
Well, you can do it by number of views, but where are those views coming from? How do you determine? Oh, well, these people are like, they got 1,000 views on a Quite video, for example. Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily mean all those people watching were Quite fans. They were fans of the entire group. Maybe 300 of those.
But it doesn't matter who's fans when you're talking about impressions that count as monetizable.
Oh, I mean,
so
yeah,
if you were just going by profile page, right? If you just set up 4 pages that are different profiles, right? Each one has its own AdWords link to it or something.
Okay, well, let me ask you then, real quick. If let's say they did a podcast and the podcast made $10,000 a month, just say for example, using what you know right now, how would you break up that $10,000 comparatively to those metrics?
I mean, when it comes to a podcast,
but it's going.
I don't know, but that's not what I'm. I mean, I'm not talking about I'm talking about individual projects, though. I'm not talking about a podcast. I'm confused why the two are crossing over here.
Because if they're working as a group, they're going to make a podcast together, or they're going to do a premium show together, or let's say Coca-Cola's like, I love the Loudmouth group, and I want to give them $10,000 to promote my Coke.
You're saying that's what they're doing, but that was never part of what I was talking about. What I'm saying is that you're bringing in a whole nother thing that becomes an issue. Like, they don't have to do a podcast.
But how do they split the money? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. How do you?
But what I'm saying is if each profile page can be monetized on its own, or can be linked to its own AdWords, which it can.
Okay.
then they would never have to worry about who gets what money because each one of their pages is monetized independently of the others.
But what if they do any project together then?
Are you talking about like collaborations, or are you talking about, like you said, a podcast?
Let's go specifically with something like a podcast, where it's a joint effort between just that group.
Well, that's depending on how they want to set up that deal.
Well,
But that's
that's
what
the
I'm talking
problem I'm
about.
getting at.
But when I'm okay, but that's already something that happens on YouTube. I'm confused how that's my whole point is that the structure of the website would get people by in the absence of YouTube. If they set it up and direct their fans there enough, it would potentially be able to continue their relevancy rather than just, oh well, I'm not uploading anything anymore. That's my whole point. Is it would serve as a stopgap until another platform comes along,
See, but
and it would help them earn a little bit in the meantime. But what
get
you're
where
saying
going
is,
at.
but if they did this, they would obviously also do this. And at that point, it becomes you're adding a whole nother thing. Whereas my whole point was, if they did a group website where they all upload, they all promote the website, they all profit.
So, what, in a nutshell, you're just saying is that they should literally just have a website called loudmouths.com where they just upload the videos that they make there. That is what you're implying.
I'm not saying that's all they would necessarily do. Each person could treat that as their own. Like, okay, I'm also going to put I'm going to put special content here. It doesn't go other places, things like that. Like you do with Patreon and stuff. What I'm saying is it's an alternative that no one is doing, where you don't have to give money to anyone else currently. And even if you had to have like a business manager or whatever running the website, right? Then you don't have to. You're not paying them probably compared to what people are paying YouTube, right?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Out of your
comparatively,
AdSense.
yes, that would be the idea, is that you get a better rate.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
But
my
you'd also
point.
have
It's
to
like,
pay a manager, which is also like kind of like giving YouTube your cut.
yeah, but again, how much is YouTube taking? How much would the manager make? How many people are in the group? And all that. That's what I'm saying. There's more to it than that. What I'm saying is, if it's financially viable for larger YouTubers to do that as a stopgap, then they could do it. Small YouTubers, all you'd benefit is relevancy. Like me, I'd be able to still make content, and I'm not really relevant necessarily, but people do want to watch my content. There are people that are shouting me out and stuff. So people like me, where I would be able to do that, people that do put out a lot of content frequently, right? Well, I'm not putting out content frequently, but my point is, people that have a reason to keep going if the platform dies, aside from just, well, I just want to upload things. And even then, maybe you would still benefit from having the website to upload to. The point I'm making is, if you had multiple people on the website, it stands a better chance of succeeding as a standalone than by itself, by yourself. Like me having internetunwind.com. No one's going to go there by comparison to a website that people know is a group of people where multiple people are uploading to, because there's more content there than my one video.
So I'll finish on the last thing here, which is number 3, which is, what do I get out of it? And this is kind of the last point I want to make, because it is very important. I would love to just do what you just said there. I would love for people to sit there and say, yeah, YouTube is a fallible object and it could collapse at any moment. As a small YouTuber, I would love to be like, yes, I can basically leech clout off of other people and we can all make some extra money out of doing this. At the end of the day, from my experience, I'm going full of my experience, the first question that Keem always asked me when I said, hey, I found a sponsor for you, was, how much money am I making?
Mm-hmm.
That is the number one thing that people will look at first. A bunch of big YouTubers doing something like that and trying to make its own website, they don't make much more than if they just did it through YouTube. And in fact, in some cases, that diverts audience. You can argue, yes, they would get a couple more dollars in CPM, but paying a business manager or somebody to manage their finances adds a risk of, can this person fuck me?
Okay, but here's the problem once again. You also gain freedom. You can say and do what you want
Freedom does not matter.
on your own website.
freedom does not matter to these folks. I'm telling
You're generalizing all of YouTube, though. Like I just said, there's people that have ways to benefit from top to bottom, because I myself would benefit. I was surprisingly actually getting a decent number of follows when I was continuously uploading to putting posts on the website.
Right.
When I was like uploading once a week and putting a post out, I was actually getting traction on there. But because I have so little time and energy, I stopped posting on there, and obviously it's died off. But there was actually a surprising amount of traction on there. It expands your reach beyond just the platform. In addition to, if the platform kicks you off, you can still upload content somewhere and then embed it to the website. People know this is a place they can always find you. Because not everybody on YouTube wants to use Twitter, right? You go to Twitter, you have to create a freaking account to do anything on there. So, but if you have a website where people don't have to create an account to see your content or to see what you say if you put a blog post out or something, they don't have to like search all over the internet for you. You have your website. Almost all YouTubers that are big have a website already, right? And a lot of them have their merch on their website. If you link your videos on your website, that's essentially all I'm saying. You link your videos on your website. Smaller YouTubers, if you group up, when you're not making much, if any money anyway, you're going to get more traction to that website than a single person uploading one video, say, a month. You have 4 people uploading one video a month. That's 4 times the amount of content on the website that could potentially get it traction. My point is, there is the only thing you have to lose by uploading to another website is time.
Exactly. And that's a resource that many people do not want to give up. So I get the one thing is that like that you keep bringing up is the idea is like if you upload, then yes, you get more people who will frequent that site. But there's always the but. That YouTube is the monopoly where all the views are driven from. If you did a comparison and say how many of your views to internet,
you're once again saying you're treating this like what I'm saying is this would be a backup for YouTube. Like, oh, I'm going to live off my no. If YouTube was to die or ban you like they've been banning people all year for seemingly no reason,
right?
You have no recourse now.
That's why.
But if you had your website,
Twitter, for example.
Right, but again, your audience isn't on Twitter. So what happens if YouTube doesn't reinstate you? You have nowhere to go besides just going to like Vimeo and see if maybe I can do something. No, but if you already have your own website and you make it known you have a website, people know that's where your content can be found regardless of what platform you're on.
But what if you get banned off of YouTube as well? Where are you uploading from? Are you just uploading
any
videos?
Of the other hosting sites? Because there's plenty of sites you can host from.
Okay, so you've lost your. Let's say you've been linking your videos from YouTube to internetonline.com, and people go there. So now you have your 1,000 viewers from YouTube, and you have maybe like 100 viewers coming to internetonline.com. You get banned off of YouTube, you've lost 900 guaranteed viewers and a possible 100 because you don't know what percentage of those viewers are clicking on, oh, he's got a website, let me check the website out and go to that. So now let's assume you lose 900 from YouTube because they were all from those 900 from YouTube and then 100 from the website itself. Well, now you don't have any content, and they just go, well, he's been banned from YouTube, so now I have no content there anyway, and I don't want to make an account or something like that, or I don't want to go to Vimeo or watch Vimeo stuff. So you're running the risk of losing even from that 100 people there. So it takes little to no time from YouTube just to link YouTube, but then it takes time to create the website and then have those backups in place, and then hoping that those numbers will come into effect.
Okay, everyone already has a merch site, right?
Most people, yes.
And isn't it pretty well known that the main thing that YouTubers make money off of now is either merch sales or sponsorships?
Mostly, yeah.
So then you're going to take your merch website, put videos on it. My point is, if you're already going to have a website, just put your videos on there too.
I mean, I want to agree
If
with
people,
you.
if
I
people, if people
want to
already,
sit here
if
and be
people
like,
already
yes,
want to
you're
go
right.
there, if people already want to go there, okay. But my point is there any way it's done this that's failed? This way, what I'm talking about.
It's not about failure.
Because has anyone failed because they put in that little bit of extra effort?
It's not about failure. It's time. That I want to sit here and be like, yes, you are 100% right. But I can't. I can't get Cavos to sign up for a live streaming website that's willing to pay him money to live stream there. I can't get a fucking million sub YouTuber to get a fat paycheck to live stream over there. Do you think I'm going to convince him to be like, hey, take BEB apparel and also make it your secondary YouTube channel? I want to sit here and say you're right, but people do not give that time up. They don't. And that's
Okay,
like that.
and that's what I'm
fallacy.
saying. And that's what I'm saying is that it's stupid to not put that time in.
So my counter to that just simply comes down to is, yes, you're right, but you have to incentivize. It can't just be as a secondary hub where the videos exist.
Like I said, if your merch sales and
extra
everything
money.
already go through there, if it's a hub for all of your content across all platforms, you have your
That's not
streaming
enough.
linked in there because you can also have. There's different things you can do with YouTube. With I can't remember which website my buddy used, but years ago my buddy had a Minecraft server. He had his website. He had all this other stuff, and on the website he had it set up so that everybody that when they would go live, it would be on the main page. If anybody went live and it was streaming or they uploaded video, there was a whole thing for video feeds. So his website was automatically logging everybody's uploads and everybody's live stream. It's not something that's that hard to do. You just need to pay for the plugin.
It's not hard at all. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
right. My point is not that this. My point is not that people are. My point is that people aren't doing it. Yes.
So
That's my point. Nobody's doing it.
I
It's not that my point is saying that nobody's doing it doesn't mean that there's no benefit. If people are able to follow your WordPress website or whatever, right? And then that WordPress website let them know whenever you upload a post, a stream is going live, or a video goes live on your website. That's all three notifications in one place.
Right.
Because things like notify still don't really work. YouTube notifications, they're trash. Twitch notifications, they work, but I mean, a lot of people don't want notifications like popping up on their phone all the time for everybody.
Well,
so a
this
lot
is
of times
why
people just
email
turn off all
notifications are
notifications.
still powerful, but continue.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like WordPress. I believe you could actually have notifications turned on for a specific website if you wanted to. So if there was a specific person you wanted to follow all notifications on all things, it would be consistent because you're just following their website,
Well,
or just following those pages or whatever. I believe it does. I'm not positive. It looks like it from what I read. Because I don't follow any websites on there because no one that I follow has a website on WordPress that I found. That isn't just a merch site.
It was Shoddy Cast. They used to do one, but I don't know if they still or don't. It was a long time ago.
But yeah, as far as I know, you're able to, because you log in with WordPress and you actually make an account with WordPress. I believe you're able to actually follow account. Like reader fetching posts. Yeah, followed sites. And then there's a notifications. There's actually a notification bell here. So like, for example, with WordPress, you could actually have somebody design an HTML website that has all your streams and videos and everything all on that website.
Right.
And should notify them every time you do stuff.
So, I want to wrap up here by just saying the last thing I'm going to say. There still needs to be something else.
Debatable until somebody proves me wrong. And I'm not saying it's going to make you a success.
I will show you off stream all of the DMs, all of my Skype messages. If I had my Skype
people
calls
saying
recorded,
they don't see the money there doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I agree with you. I fucking agree with you.
Okay, you're agreeing with me, but you're continuing to tell me it doesn't work. People saying they don't want to do it because they don't see the money yet, because no one's done it yet and had it work yet.
I'm not
just
saying
means that it's not proven yet.
It didn't work, and I've stopped trying. I'm saying is that I continue to try, and it still doesn't work. That's not me saying it does not work. What I am agreeing with you in every sense is that everything you are saying is a great idea, It needs to be implemented. Not like, oh, people should do it because it'll. No, it needs to be the case. The problem is those three things I mentioned. And that at the end of the day, all the big YouTubers, they have this complex that basically says, I don't have more time. My time is finite and valuable. So giving up more time to do this is not worth it to them. The mid-range YouTubers are going, I can't stagnate my growth for something like this. And the small YouTubers don't unfortunately have enough pull most of the times, not always, to do this and have it be useful.
Yeah.
So those are the three flaws, and then those three things like I just said, the three types of YouTubers is like, if I could convince one, like Cavos, for example,
I mean,
I would do
things
everything
are
you just said.
Things are changing though, dude. I mean, Scrubby and iDubbbz both recently got editors.
I'm kind of surprised at that, but
so
it only took them how many years to realize that they couldn't do it all on their own?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't home or available when Scrubby posted about him needing an editor. Otherwise, I would have gone for that one.
I mean, you should still try it regardless. Just be like, hey, I realize it's past deadline, but...
Oh, he deleted the tweet way before I found out about it. Because I was like off Twitter for like 2 days.
Go to Tommy and be like, hey, Tommy, real quick, do me a solid. Alright.
Anyway, that was a long debate that was going to go nowhere from the beginning.
It didn't go nowhere. It did not go fucking nowhere. You're the starry bright eyes against the fucking grizzled, I'm not going to use the word veteran, but disenfranchised fucking facemonger who's like...
Believe me, I am in no way starry-eyed. Oh, jeez. You see who's in the chat?
I saw who's in the chat. But I'm telling you, I'm just like, I will finish, and I gotta finish by saying, it's just like...
Yeah.
I have talked to a child. I've told you this story a fucking 1,000 times. I talked to a guy who was 15 or 16 years old in high school and said, I can get you $4,000 a month to stream on stream.me. And he said no. At that time, I was making fucking minimum wage working at a Tim fucking Hortons. And I was just sitting there like, oh okay. I signed Keemstar to that. I got Keemstar signed to that website to make a fat fucking paycheck. And what happened? The site inevitably crashed. I talked to Cavos and say, hey, this website wants to pay you to live stream there. And he can't even be bothered to make an account. I talked to Uber Danger to try to convince him to do a podcast. And he does 2 episodes of a podcast, and then everyone in the League of Legends community fucking spurgs out and doesn't do it anymore. I convinced Cavos, Willany, and Mimulus that we could be making like 10 grand at minimum a month. And that's not enough incentive. I'm pretty burnt up by these types of things. And I'm like, if I could just take what you said, break it down into a 5-second clip that makes it so that they only have to watch a fucking business proposal for 30 seconds, I would do that.
Yeah.
But I can't even get these fucking people into a call, let alone tell them to make a website and put their videos there. It hurts. I don't know the last... I can't envision the amount of money I could have made Keemstar more than he already makes if he just listened to the people that tell him, hey, if you try this, you can make this much. Hey, if you do this, you can do this much. Hey, if you stop fucking the podcast up, you can make this much.
I mean, for sure. Let me be clear. For sure, you're right that if you have something else to actually drive attention to the site, aside from the content itself, aside from doing like essentially your own Patreon type thing, there's definitely more to be gained there that way. My whole point is, like I said, essentially there's something to be gained by doing it regardless.
Yeah.
So
if you can give me some fucking proof examples, like just off like anything you got, send them my way, because I will include that in my pitch. But I gotta find somebody who's at like 400,000 subs, and I'll do exactly what you say. And if they actually fucking listen to me, and when I turn them into a fucking 20-year-old millionaire, we'll have this conversation again then. But until that happens, I have to sit here on my jaded fucking box and just be like, fucking people hate money.
Yeah. Can you imagine though if like somebody like Scrubby was to do that? Because he uploads like practically daily. If you had somebody like Scrubby who was uploading daily to his own website, the amount of content he puts out that is trackable with his kind of name, where like there's a decent amount of what do you call it, history on the internet with his name, where his website would still pop up a lot of places.
So there's a problem with Scrubby that he just isn't big. Scrubby
He's not
follows,
big.
Scrubby follows trends, but at the end of the day, when the trend goes away and he just goes, "Hey, I'm gonna stop uploading for 3 months," how much of his audience is coming back? If it's anything less than 100,000, then it's really hard to like do something very financially profitable. I'm not saying it's possible. I'm just saying it's harder that way. That's all.
I just meant because of the amount more money you can get for your own ads on your own website compared to
how about
YouTube. Somebody with a large volume like that. But
how about we go spam Scrubby and be like, dude, I know a guy. He's the manager for Baited Podcast. He's got some fucking ideas for you. So I have. Oh my god. It's the one thing like that I think is a very underutilized market that nobody knows about, and this is kind of like a shush secret. So Bull Blacks is a gay virgin and blackface. I'm like, you have to say the whole name because it's not Bull Blacks, but there's an untapped market that people are sitting on, and it's ripe. Not necessarily for abuse. I like when I say this, it sounds like I'm fucking like meh. And that is community channels. Think about Thrust. How many highly successful people came out of all iterations of Thrust? A lot of fucking people if you really look at it. Hell, even Censor's a great example. Censor came out of Thrust. If I said, hey, Scrubby, I need you to make a community channel where other people can upload their content there, provided that it follows all the rules and restrictions. I have a plethora of those people, like we were just talking about, that, hey, this guy's pretty serious about being a professional uploader. Why don't we help him out get a little viral, and kind of like Sky Does Minecraft used to do, we'll sign him into the network early, get him while they're young, and pull a little phase where you're like, I'll give you 30%. And I'm joking, I'm being joking, that was a joke. But be like phase and sign people in early. It's an untapped well of opportunity. It's untapped. And people, that's one of, besides the community channel, because the little community website thing where people upload and do podcasts together, that's my first phase of the plan. Second phase of the plan is the community channel. There's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out of this little idea as well, might I add. I'm giving you the tip of the iceberg. How much shit do you think I know below that iceberg?
Yep.
It's an untapped market. It's a fucking wealth of money being sat on, and nobody's doing this. So take your idea, plus that idea, plus some other little things I got, little tiny things. I could make a fucking 20-year-old a millionaire if you gave me somebody who just listened to me. On that note, I have to end here because I unfortunately have to go to fucking bed in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But
by the way, not Bo Blacks. Real quick, the point was, his name, not that his name is searchable, but the fact that the metrics of his name, the SEO of his name being tied to content and stuff, means that if he was to upload something somewhere with his name attached to it, the odds that it would get traction somewhere else on the internet goes up compared to like if I was just put something out. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap this out.
All right. Do you wanna say anything? Because I'm out of things to say. I like that we argued. I like that we actually had something that we had different opinions about, even though it wasn't entirely different. Like, it's nice to not be in the fucking echo chamber.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give a couple words. He was a nice guy. Wait, who are we saying words about again?
I'm not saying shit about the fuck. No, I'm not agreeing with Epstein.
Who? Oh, I didn't realize it was. That's who it was.
I said give some exiting words, and you just started talking about person.
I didn't know you were talking. I didn't know it was for Epstein. I thought it was just
the person on screen's fucking Epstein and a banana. What did you think it was about?
I thought it was the banana itself because of the guy that ate the banana. I mean, I thought it was a meme too. I don't know.
Oh god, banana story is interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I may stream Halo Reach on my channel at some point, and I might be doing money raffles, which would be pretty fucking awesome. I used to make challenge courses, like obstacle
Mm,
courses, and every week I do like a challenge and say, hey, if you won the challenge, like you would get some sort of reward. Back then I had no money, now I have money, and I'm like,
yeah.
fuck, I might be like, hey, if you beat this challenge course the fastest time, I'll give you a $50 Amazon card, and if you beat like if it's second place, like the fastest time, I'll give you like a $5 or a $10 Amazon card. So I'm really hoping if I do something like that, it brings in some people. So keep an eye out for that. That
Nice.
might be pretty cool.
Actually, on a note of that, I actually have been considering a couple things with Twitch streaming. I can't find any good like plugins or anything to do it, but I might start doing something where people can like make my life a living hell in Minecraft.
You need
Like
one of these.
if I'm playing Minecraft, you can like whatever. I haven't figured out if there's gonna be like a currency system or what I'm gonna do. Like if you do this, I gotta throw away whatever you say to throw away or something like that.
So that's what I want to do on Sliver if I ever fucking get that shit going. What I literally want to do is I have a tens unit, and I'm gonna make it some shit like, okay, if somebody donates like $5 now, and I don't win this match with more than like 15 kills, I have to zap my face with a tens unit or some shit like that. I love torture challenges like that. They're so fun, and I'm one of the few people that loves like. I'll take some physical pain for the laughs. Come on.
If I can get my studio built, I would have so much freedom to do that kind of stuff. Because I would have my streaming set up at one end of the room, and I'd have the whole room behind me that I could just turn the camera and do something behind me.
That'd be fun.
I could. There's so much you could do if you have an actual like space to work in.
I think if I ever do get to streaming, I'm gonna try to have like a passive schedule, like a real passive schedule. But basically, I want to do like Thursday's Dark Soul day. I don't know why, but I decided Thursdays is my Dark Soul day, where I play just through Souls games.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday would be like Sub Sunday, like any games or thing that people want to do on Sub Sunday if I had a subscribe button. And then like Friday or Saturday or whatever day is like a little bit more active day, it would be like a torture Kyle kind of day.
Yeah. I actually have a couple plans for the new year. I haven't had the time to sit down and really figure them out. I'm hoping I can take the first week. I've been trying to get the first week of January off for a few weeks now. But I've got a like a movie watch along type podcast type thing that we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be doing with Trivial Theater.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun because we actually have very similar tastes, it seems, in movies and stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Movies. Fuck, man.
Well, well, part of the hope is that we'll be able to have like, a lot. Like she knows a lot. Like her whole thing is like facts about the movies and stuff. But she follows like all the classic memers and stuff. Like she follows Vega. Like she loves the comedy stuff of it, right?
Yeah.
She's got a decent sense of humor herself. So it'll be fun to like kind of both, talk about the stuff that's going on in the movie, and also make fun of movies while we're watching it. Kind of like Mystery Science Theater. I mean, like it's not like that's not a crowded market. There's plenty of people that do that already. But the idea is it's just going to be another thing we get to do for having some more fun, and hopefully people get to enjoy doing that with us. I'm hoping to do like other things live streaming aside from just gaming too in the new year. Hopefully get some people like into doing things, but I might need a new PC before I can really get involved in doing that.
All right. On that note, we're gonna bounce out. I'm gonna chat with you after on the stream.